I bet.
You know, ever since like the other episodes have gone on Spotify and Apple Music and all this stuff, I've
mm,
been like really super aware of just how much our live stream preambles have like remained in the VODs and stuff. And so
yeah.
the progress has just been like slightly slower on like getting them out there because
Mm,
YouTube takes like forever to process the edits. And I'm just like, should I just download them and then cut it out? But it's like, I'm talking like 2-3 hours worth of content, I guess,
mm.
to sift through for every single one. And sometimes we like riff on the end. I don't know. Like, I feel like generally speaking, I do a good job, or I guess, no, I do a good job. I was
Yeah, no,
about to
you
give
do a
you,
good
yeah,
job.
I was about to give you
But
some credit. Oh my God.
I had to show up and talk, bro.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I think I do a semi good job of like compartmentalizing the audio a little bit, and we've definitely gotten better with like the most recent episodes. I'd say like the last 10 episodes or so since we switched over to streaming has just been way better.
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
oh, hey chat,
Yo.
what's up?
Yo, what's up, chat? What's up, chat? What's up, chat? How are y'all doing on this fine Sunday afternoon?
Yes,
How are
if
y'all feeling?
yeah, if y'all couldn't tell, I am absolutely sick. uh yeah,
Hmm.
so yeah, prepare for a fucking BR heavy episode. I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah. You guys are welcome, right? I fucking, I sneeze. I sent a secret agent to sneeze on creams on Friday. That way I could, take over the stream. So,
Did I send you
you
the
guys are welcome.
Did I send you the full thumbnail for Twitter and stuff? No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Nah, it's
I
fine.
sent.
I usually just send a panel and or use a panel anyways. It's all good.
All right. I mean, I sent it
For
to
Twitter.
I sent it to you just now anyway. For
Got
Twitter.
you. Got you. How y'all doing, chat? How you doing, chat? Interesting. Can you see how many fucking one thing that's weird about the update is where do you see how many people are in here? I'm kind of curious.
Wait, it updated like the live stream front end. I didn't even know that.
Well, it's the video like all video front ends are updated, you know what I mean? Like descriptions, shit like that. It updated with like the thumbnails. Anyways,
Fuck.
bless you.
Thank you.
Anywho, how do you guys feel about the chapters this week? I'm curious. We're obviously going to talk about them as we always do, but I am kind of curious about what you guys think. How you feel about not just JJK, but like Black Clover and My Hero as well. Because I was looking at some Twitter reactions, right, myself. I was looking at some Black Clover reactions, and
Uh huh.
I got some stuff to say about that. But one, I'm actually, chat. You know what's crazy? I'm actually going to be like probably kind of going up to bat for My Hero this week. Um,
I didn't realize there was a lot of backlash. I thought the My Hero chapter was fire.
I thought so too, but I mean, I kind of get why people are upset at it, but like we'll talk about it, right? But yeah, people like at least from what I saw like on scans day, people were like, bro, this shit is ass. This is so misplaced. Like we don't really care about this. Blah 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 blah. Which we'll talk about, and I think there is um sliver of like validity to it, but I kind of disagree with the entire sentiment. Um, Choso gonna die? Yes, sir. Get him out of here.
I'm gonna
Um,
keep it real with you, chat. All right, when it comes to the My Hero chapter, I'm gonna have way less to say than BR. All right, I'm just keeping it real. Right, I just feel like if I go beyond the text, it's not my place. All right,
oh
I'm
yeah.
here to listen. I'm here to learn.
Oh my God, bro, you're so Bro said I'm here to listen
Listen,
and learn.
learn.
You're disgusting, bro. I gotta fucking dig up some screenshots, bro. Something you gotta get canceled for that. That's crazy.
Nah,
We're gonna
bro.
do this in reverse. We're gonna do this in reverse.
Nah, nobody will ever believe
Um,
you, bro. It's not part of my agenda.
interesting. Chad, did you hear that? Nobody will ever believe me. And then he whispered under his breath, because
What?
of my skin. So,
Oh no, that's
yeah,
crazy, bro.
yeah. So
Bro,
you had to hear
listen,
first. You had to hear
listen, bro.
first.
All I'm saying is, after Elon made that little tweet, I
Oh
wasn't
nah.
I wasn't the one blasting off. All right, that's all I'm saying. Pull
Anyways,
up the receipts.
yeah. Please, if Gege kills Shoso, we'll go insane. All right, bro. I got a nice
Choso?
padded room for you.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what to tell you. No, I don't think. Okay, you know what? Let me not get into my thoughts because I'm gonna be spitting for this JJK chapter, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Did I really just hear Choso hate as soon as I showed up? No, of course not. I would never hate on Choso. Choso is such a great character, such a great guy.
You know,
Ha ha ha
I
ha.
can really feel like when the podcast starts when Liv and Landa get here, because like,
Hmm.
you know, you gotta keep the mods gotta keep rest of the chat in line for real.
Gege and Tagashi really carrying Weekly
Yes,
Shonen Jump.
yeah, bro,
Bro, put a
Tagashi
fucking
back,
bum
bro.
with Gege. I'm
Oh my
disgusted.
god, bro,
Bro,
dude, I saw this. Dude,
that's
did
the,
you see the
I'm
Hunter x
sick.
Hunter chapter this week? It was like that entire wall of text. I was like, he's really back, bro. He's really
Bro,
back.
I read that and I was like, man, bro, this shit is so I
Bro,
care.
new
Like,
episode of the Hunter x Hunter night novel. Fuck me, light
bro,
novel.
said I love him. Yeah. That's wild. Listen, I
Yeah,
will say
bro.
this. I will say this.
What?
I don't know. I think the only reason this chapter was not like actual steaming shit for me, right,
Wow.
is Hisoka showed up.
Yeah. What'd you think of
Yeah.
his new like comeback look? I fucking love it. It's way more
I,
subdued. Yeah.
yeah, it is pretty subdued. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I don't like. I'm kind of nervous about like why are you walking around so openly, bro? Like, because it's the thing is right.
Hmm.
It's not that like obviously he's trying to hide or like kill the Phantom Troop off, but like he doesn't look that much different,
I
right? It's
know.
not like he's using texture surprise to like change his appearance wildly.
I
It's
mean,
like, bro,
it's probably for his foot though, because that's gone. Like one of his
Yeah.
feet is gone, so he's probably using texture surprise for that.
Mhm.
Wow, I am. Ooh.
Yeah, you're cooked. But yeah, I mean, I just mean like, listen, and we obviously knew this, right? But you got to be a bold person to be walking around the ship when you know the Phantom Troop are hunting you down, and you're just like, whistling, walking down. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm that guy. They're not.
I mean, but Hisoka kind of is that guy, low key. Like obvious personality flaws aside, which I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's a lot to put aside. Yeah, Hisoka really is that guy when it comes to fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he definitely is, but like the thing is, so my thing, right, is it's an interesting like sense of confidence for him considering like Crollo killed him, right? Like he lost.
But
Like he's
what you read the Hisoka Crollo fight, right?
yeah, no,
But
I've read the
know
fight.
how hard like Crollo prepared for
for
that shit. Like
no, for sure, right? For sure, right? But if Crollo 1v1'd you, I don't know.
No,
like,
but that's
if
what I'm
I'm
saying. It wasn't a
Hisoka, I'm like,
1v1, right? Because like the whole point is that Crollo cheated.
like by getting these abilities in advance, you mean?
Yeah, because the whole point of his abilities is that he can't kill the person whose abilities he's stealing. So
Yeah.
he used the Phantom Troops abilities,
Mhm.
meaning that not only were they alive, but a lot of them seem to be helping him from like behind the scenes. So people
Yeah.
like what's her name? The Phantom
Pink hair
Troop.
girl?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. I don't remember her name off the top of my head though.
Yeah, that's why Hisoka was so mad when he came back from the dead, because it was Kortopi and Shalnark's ability, specifically Shalnark's with his manipulation pins,
Mhm.
that he was like, "Oh, you guys ruined like the fight of my
Yeah.
life, right? Fuck you. We're like, I'm not playing anymore. Killed them both."
Yeah,
Which
that shit was kind of hard though.
Yeah.
Like just running up on them and then they just come back and they're dead. I'm
That-
like, oh,
dude, the
whoa,
thing
that's
he
crazy.
did to Shalnark's body, dude, Togashi really is amazing. Oh my god, bro! Like I love. Okay, I'm a Shalnark hater, right? You can imagine
Yeah.
I was a little moist down there, if you know what I mean, when I saw that panel.
What, bro? What?
Machi, thank you.
Bro, what? Oh, I'm sick. I'm disgusted.
Thank you.
Anyways,
Liv. I always spit.
Okay, bro. Anyways, yeah,
Oh yeah, Hisoka is
Wait.
also way stronger now because he got that like post Nen like boost or whatever.
but
like,
that
death
shit
boost.
stay though.
Yeah.
Like, is
I
that,
mean,
like,
it kind
permanent?
of has to, right? Because like the payoff for getting that power up is dying. So
Yeah, but what I mean is like, okay. What I mean is like, okay, if you get like, because you could get like a temporary Nen amp, right? So like, what I mean is, because Hisoka was able to use Bungee Gum to like restart his heart, right? And
Right.
he was only able to be that precise with it because of the post death amp. And I'm like, okay, cool. Does that stay,
so
or does that, or like, does he have that level of precision even now? After like, or is like, if you survive somehow. a post-death Nen amp? Is that just your new base level of like ability?
I think it has to be because the post death amp who is another character that got it? Um
Not many characters got it and lived.
uh
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like
yeah, like
P2 got it and then got pummeled by Gon.
but Gon was already like way stronger, and she like okay, st- still able to cut off adult Gon's arm. Yes, adult Gon was like, let it happen. Yeah,
yeah.
There's a bit of like complexity to it. I grant you. Meruem technically got it, but like he also did consume his other two lieutenants. Okay, basically
That's what I'm saying, right?
Like
Because someone
yeah.
said every time we see post-mortem Nen, it's permanent, but we don't have a precedent for that, right? We don't know. Like Marium is already so strong at a point, right, where his post-death amp, like he ate other like
Yeah,
high-level chimera ants, right?
he
We
didn't
don't know
need
if
to.
that's
Yeah, it was just to
yeah.
heal his body, but like he didn't need it. Like
Yeah, it wasn't like nobody was fucking checking Marium in like a 1v1, right?
out of the womb too.
Yeah.
Like fresh out the rip, right? Like Netara would have still lost to Meruem like 2 seconds after his birth.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I might disagree.
I know. I'll tell you
Um,
why. I tell you why, right? Because Meruem had a month, right? He's about a month old before the fight happened. You know what he was doing? He was playing board games. Like,
that's what I think. That's the thing though. I think Komugi, like him learning from Komugi and keep taking those L's was like instrumental in him ever figuring out Netero's like attack combination. Because like there's that whole like Miriam's like obviously he's stronger and like the attacks aren't like doing significant damage, but like the whole thing is he's like, you'll eventually slip up Netero, and when you slip up, I'm gonna take your arm and I'm gonna take your leg and then whatever,
yeah, but
right?
he was
And
also still playing with one hand tied behind his back because Netero promised to like tell him his name if he like won the fight, and even Meruem was like, oh, damn, I was just gonna kill you, like, fuck, okay.
yeah.
So
Dying giving you a temporary amp sounds stupid. Let me ask you something real quick.
what?
Do
That's
you think P2's amp is permanent? Like, do you think P2 in the fucking dirt still has that amp?
no.
Probably not,
I'll tell
right?
you
Like,
but the only reason why is just because she didn't have a head, right? But
to
like
me,
it,
it makes more sense for like a post-death amp to be temporary because you're not gonna be using it
no,
long.
it makes sense. It makes sense, and I'll tell you why. Nen is the entire premise of Nen is like a promise for like a thing. So it's an exchange based power system, and there is literally no higher price than dying, right? So that power level has to
Sure.
be high.
Well, yeah, sure, right? But what I'm saying, right? What I'm getting at, right, is like, yes, there is no higher price than death, right? But if you take away that price, right, then the sort of like the benefit you get to me would go down. It'd be like this, right? If Karapika like was somehow able to like deactivate like his contract, right, his Nen contract of like he can use his abilities on characters other than the spiders, it would make sense that the overwhelming power of his chains, like all of his like other ones, would go down, right? Because you're dispelling the contract. I just look at like post-mortem Nen as like a Nen contract that like in exchange for an overwhelming amount of power for whatever amount of time, you die. Like that's what it is. And then I think like the way I look at it, right, is if Hisoka voids the death part, right? If he's like, okay, well, I'm no longer dead, then the amp that he got specifically from
No.
dying should
See,
go with him.
I think it's similar to a Black Flash in the respect of like once you have access to that kind of thing, it like shifts your entire perspective on Nen and like how you even comprehend in your relationship with the power system, right? And so I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I think it's like a fundamental evolution for the person. Now, granted, right? We haven't actually seen Hisoka really go all out, and we actually the only time we've ever seen Hisoka go all out is in that like very stacked fight against Crollo, and he was already at a level where I'm just gonna say it. Hisoka could probably body all of the Phantom Troop if he really wanted to, right? Like,
Like
yeah,
simultaneously.
like no prep time on their end, right? Crollo
Yeah.
doesn't get like their bag of tricks. They don't get to dictate the circumstance, time, etc.
Yeah.
Hisoka's killing all of them, and Crollo even kind of said as much because I think it was the same one. It was like, Hisoka set like the record for the most amount of abilities Crollo needed to prepare to beat an opponent, and
Yeah.
and I believe that. Like if
No,
Crollo
for sure.
if Crollo had made one mistake, one error, like it would have been a wash for Hisoka.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody said temporary amps ain't worth dying for.
Yeah,
I present to you
exactly.
adult gone. Like what
Okay,
the fuck?
but
Wait,
no, no,
what are we talking about, man?
but like Gon is a monster. Okay, I couldn't resist. Sorry.
Gone is out. I'm willing. I don't care anymore. I'm giving up
No, yeah.
everything for a temporary amp. How can we say temporary amps don't make sense when the main character, at least previous main character of the series, literally was like, if Killua did not intervene, he would have died. Like that's the thing. And it's not even.
Uh,
It's not even just that, right? It's he gave up everything, right? So now he can't use Nen, at least as far as I think, right? That's the case, right? He can't use Nen anymore. He can't send shit with Nen. I think is like where we leave off on. Like he Gon was like literally whatever you want, right? I don't give a fuck anymore. Give me the power to beat this one person in this one fight. How are we gonna say temporary amps for like death doesn't make sense?
I mean, I think it has to do with the fact that like the trade-off for Nen as a power system, if you want to count it as like a separate party. Give me a second. I forgot to mute up, so sorry for everybody who heard that. The condition for Nen is that in a similar vein as like something like Heavenly Restriction, it's like an inherent trait of the power system. It's not a contract you can make. It's a contract that automatically goes into effect when that thing happens, right? So
Not everybody gets post-mortem Nen when they die. Like that's
no,
something
but
like that.
the entire point is that they have to like come back. It's like a whole thing, right? And like how many characters have you seen die like officially like pronounced dead and then come back who are Nen users? Like that's the thing, right? Hisoka's probably the only quote unquote normal Nen user that we've seen who's satisfied this condition, right? If somebody like Gon is making like a contract actively, it's different from somebody who like Hisoka kind of set the failsafe of their heart beating prior to that
I don't know.
activation, right?
I definitely think these things are set up to be like basically the same, except the level of them is different, right? Because all it is it's you're saying in exchange for this, right? I'm willing to give up this, right? And that can vary from like, I can't use my ability for certain people to I'm dying for it, right? But the thing is, in my opinion, like people are like, it's not worth it, right? If Hisoka doesn't make that gamble, he just stays dead. Like in my opinion, right? Making that gamble is well worth it because it can only go well for you, right? Like there's only upside, right? If you make that gamble and it doesn't work, well, you were gonna die anyways. And if you make the gamble and it does work, well, yeah, you got an amp strong enough to bring you back to life. Good shit. Now you're alive. Like that's the reward. You get to live again. That to me, that's like the point. That's the purpose of what Hisoka was going for there.
I like I said, I still firmly believe in like it being a permanent power up just because of like how particular a situation that is. Granted, it has yet to be seen whether or not Hisoka is at a higher level considerably. Because okay, the way I understood it, right, is that Hisoka needed kind of a power boost on his like newfound mission to hunt the Phantom Troop, right? Which
Hmm.
I don't think he needs, but whatever. And to do that, he does need a huge jump in power, and the Nen boost, the postmortem Nen boost thing is a really good way of doing that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like I just think Hisoka's gonna use like rather than fighting them straight up, or at least all of them, I think he's just gonna use like more guerrilla warfare tactics, which don't require him to necessarily be outright strong enough to like solo the entire squad.
I guess it remains to be seen. But for now,
Yeah,
right,
for
I'm
sure.
just very happy that he's back. I'm excited. I want to see like the rematch with him and Crollo. I want to see Illumi as like a member of the Phantom Troop. There's a lot about Hunter x Hunter coming back that like we can finally see get addressed.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
kind of curious how like Tagashi will approach like a fight that is actually a fight. You know what I mean? Because I don't think have we seen that since like the Succession War? Like not just like a because like yes we've seen conflicts that are like very intellectual and fucking
are
walls of
you
text,
referring
right?
to like a 1v1?
Not just a 1v1, but I more mean like a fight that had like where
Like a fair
there is
1v1?
yeah, that or
Okay.
there's more action than there is like dialogue, right? Because
Um,
like yeah,
see,
I'm curious. I'm curious how Tagashi will approach that.
I get what you mean, but I think the most recent, or I guess No, I don't think there's ever been a fair Hunter x Hunter matchup, and I'll tell you what I mean. All right, if you take a look at all the fights in Hunter x Hunter, one party has always been drastically stronger than the other, and the other party has
Hmm.
has either won or lost based on some kind of technical effort. So a good example of this, believe it or not, is actually in Greed Island with the dodgeball match and the fight with Genthru. Both required an unbelievable amount of teamwork, of planning, of perseverance. That if it was a one-on-one conflict, it would have been just like a wash either way, right? So like even with Genthru, it's more obvious because Gon lost like a hand and like his
Hmm.
throat got crushed, right? The only reason he won is because of like all the preparation they did for trapping him in the underground and doing all this shit, right? Same with Razor, Hisoka teaming up with Gon and Killua, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Killua and Gon never stood a chance against the Phantom Troop. There was no conflict there. They were going to die. They got lucky in surviving, and Kurapika's like outsmarting of them, right?
Hmm.
The closest fair fight was actually Kurapika versus what's his name?
Uvogin.
Uvogin, yeah. And I still don't consider that a real fight because Kurapika essentially bred himself to be the Phantom Troop's natural predator, right? So, in a situation that you'd want to call fair, somebody like Gon fighting Kurapika would probably put up a really good fight, better than Uvogin, because Kurapika's power system is really just only tailor made to fight the Phantom Troop and only them, for obvious reasons, like for his character, right?
For sure.
And
What I okay.
basically, sorry, the running through line of Hunter x Hunter fights is like it is an uphill battle, and the only way to win is to outsmart your opponent.
For sure. I agree with that. I guess what I was getting at more is like because obviously Takashi is while he's healthy enough to be like publishing chapters, I wonder like because when you write a lot of dialogue, right? I'm assuming that those types of chapters are less like intensive, especially artistically, than ones like just pure fight chapters, right? Like 20 chap like Hisoka versus Crollo, right? Where yes, there's a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot of actual not actual things happening because that implies that like these things aren't like real or worthwhile, but more like it's more choreography than it is talking, I guess. Does that make sense? I'm curious if those types of fights will show up considering, his like tentative condition.
I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. In which case, I think they have to,
Mm,
um, just simply because a lot of these fights are big like things to look forward to for the series or things people have been looking forward to.
yeah.
Um, like for example, Hisoka versus the Phantom Troop. Any member of the Phantom Troop has to happen, right? It's like
Yeah.
it just in the cards. And on that note, I think it's safe to say that like I'm very excited about Hunter x Hunter coming back. I'm very
For
happy
sure.
that it is back. I hope Tagashi's health continues to increase. I had back trouble in the last week or two, and it was like not even comparable to what Tagashi's going through, and I was out of commission for a good chunk of my time. Right.
Yeah.
It really goes to show that like this guy is really like he anybody that calls Tagashi lazy is an asshole because this guy really is just continuously just fighting for his bare survival. Like he wants to draw the manga, you know? Like nobody wants to take a 4 year hiatus.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. Unless you're creams.
Ha ha ha.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. I'm hoping Tagashi stays healthy. Um and like if he takes like more like month breaks and then drops a chapter or something like that. Like to me that seems
Yeah. Like if they
like a much more enjoyable cycle for like big Hunter x Hunter fans than taking these like because if he just like sort of paces himself more, I think that would be probably really good. Also, thank you for the $5,
yeah,
X-Man. Where do you scale Phaeton? Who wins
Kite
Kite
versus
versus
Illumi.
Illumi? What could Beyond Netero's Nen type be? And will Kurapika die against Crollo or the Fourth Prince?
So there's a lot of questions in there, so I'm gonna take it one at a time. But before I tackle it, I want you guys to like the stream here. All right, we got 106 concurrent viewers. Thank you so much. Only 22 likes, so I want to see those likes match up. All right. Now to begin with, where do I scale Phaeton? So with Phaeton, I actually scale him relatively high, especially if he's like not rusty, as you know was continuously stated in the fight against what's her face, the Chimera Ant Queen.
Yeah.
And there are certain abilities that he has that I feel, certain forms that he has that I feel could really pack a punch against a lot of opponents. Yes, I did go there, right? Now, to be frank, right, like if we're being honest with each other, I would probably put Feitan somewhere around Chimera Ant Lieutenant, Captain, just like in his peak, right? Because Feitan, look, I'm just gonna say this flat out, right? No member of the Phantom Troop, not even the Phantom Troop collectively, stands a chance against a Royal Guard, let alone somebody like Meruem. Yeah. So that just inherently below that level, right? So I'd say somebody like a squadron leader is probably like the maximum Phaeton can scale to, right? Now, part two. No, next question.
Was the queen a squadron leader?
The queen, like the ant queen, like the
Yeah.
No, she was just like a chimera ant queen.
She was just an officer.
Yeah, like she wasn't. She didn't have. Wait, are you saying like the dinosaur lady or like the original chimera ant queen?
No. The one that Phaeton actually fights, right?
Oh no. She was I think she was a squadron leader. Same.
Got you.
But you know who else was a squadron leader? Colt.
Yeah.
So that should kind of. I mean, Colt could be powerful. We don't know. He retired basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, so second question: who wins, Kite versus Illumi? This one's a bit nuanced because keeping in theme with Hunter x Hunter's fights being technical like chess matches basically. It depends on whether or not Kite cares about killing bystanders. If he doesn't, then Kite wins. If he does, then Illumi wins, right? Because Illumi will use human shields. He'll like corner Kite with like he'll essentially spam Kite with a bunch of people under his control. Now, if Kite doesn't care, and he just like all these people are dead anyway, right? And uses that and also if his slots are also good, and he gets that scythe, it's a wrap up, right? Illumi loses, right? Now, next question: what would be on Netero's med type be? Either enhancer or specialist, right? We tend to see like bulkier people be enhancers, and Netero was also an enhancer, and Beyond seems to share a lot of traits with his father. So either enhancer or specialist. So there you go.
You can.
I just want to blast off of these.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then you can go tag out, so because I need a break after this. And will Kurapika die against Chrollo or the Fourth Prince? Kurapika, in my opinion, is going to kill the entirety of the Phantom Troop and probably die at the same time as Chrollo. Realistically, he has kind of committed his entire being to this like big task, and as far as the succession war thing goes, it's kind of ending when we get to the Dark Continent itself, right? Because like who the fuck cares? Now, Senradic, I think that's how you say his name, the guy who I used for my profile on my Prive.
Gotcha.
He seems to be like the most prodigious Nen user on the ship, but we don't know how that actually translates, considering in story, right? We just got off the Chimera Ant arc, as dumb as that sounds. So the ants are essentially very special beings. Even like the strongest Nen user, Netero, who'd been mastering his craft for years on end, was nowhere near Meruem's like raw level of power like off rip. So there has to be a certain limitation with how strong the Fourth Prince can be, even as a prodigy. And there especially has to be with like how much of that ability he can cultivate, right, in this short time frame. Realistically, to get back to the initial question about Kurapika, the Fourth Prince can kill him after a couple years, maybe, or like after really sort of discovering his inherent Nen technique. But aside from that, Kurapika's winning on experience, right? In the time frame, in the time frame of specifically being on the stupid boat and like the dark and the succession war arc, right?
Yeah, I view Kurapika as pretty weak. Like outside of against Phantom Troop.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying, right? But like the guy literally just picked up Nen, which is why I'm saying like literally like in the context of this boat ride, no, the second you get off this boat or hell, give it even like 2 months, the Fourth Prince could probably destroy him.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
that is my answer to all of these questions. I hope I did a pretty good job. Y'all better like this while I go get some water.
Yeah. And I think from that, gonna talk about mid for a second. And I think I'll tackle what chapters do you think I should tackle first? JJK is always going to be for last. Which one do you guys want to hear about first? Black Clover, My Hero, guys. Which
By the
one do
way,
you
if
guys
you
want to
want to
hear about
give your
first?
answers to any of these, feel free. Like if you disagree with
Got you.
anything I said or anything, I'll be right back.
Yeah, got you. Actually, I mean, unfortunately, I actually, unfortunately, fucking agree with Creams, or at least don't have enough information to disagree. So gonna have to just let that slide or whatever. Um, but yeah, Black Clover, Black Clover. Okay, whatever. Those were the ones I saw first. All right, so this Black Clover chapter. I got to be honest. All right, so I got to preface this. I got to preface this, chat. I have to preface this, right? I am not one of those stinky people who thinks that Black Clover is a ripoff of Naruto, right? I want to make that like very, very clear, very clear, like explicitly clear. I don't think that Black Clover is a ripoff of Naruto. That being said, this storyline was I don't know how I feel about this one. It just feels so derivative. I don't know, derivative, but like also just kind of pointless as an audience member. Um, because like I don't know, it like the whole Yami killed his clan thing, right? That whole idea just doesn't hit when we basically know he didn't, right? When it's like okay, right? We know that there's going to be some overarching context to this, right? We know that Yami probably did not do this out of any form of like malice or like evil intent. There may have been some like fucking attempt to hurt his sister or some other bullshit, or he was set up, right? But I feel like the reason I don't really care about this for Yami's like his whole conflict is I know Yami didn't do this. There's no like, and if I'm wrong, right? This is gonna make for a fucking crazy clip if I'm just like incorrect and Yami's actually like just like fucking evil in the background or some shit, right? But my fucking guess, right, is that this isn't like Yami was set up somehow, right? Ichigo's obviously wrong. Asu's trust in Yami is correct. So I don't really. I'm like, no, you're just wrong. And I just look at Ichigo as like like not stupid because I understand how you could come to that conclusion, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel that like I don't feel any tension here because I don't believe for a second that Yami killed his clan and was like an evil person. You know what I mean? Um and yeah, there's obviously the fucking like Itachi killing the clan, blah blah blah, like similarities. Once again, it's not a fucking Naruto clone. It's not a clone of anything or a ripoff of anything, but I'd also have to be like blatantly fucking blind to not see the obvious like Naruto inspiration from this, right? And the reason, and I'm a big fan of like authors taking inspiration from other authors, right? I think a lot of people do it really well. Um like even Gege, like some of Gege's like more iconic ideas like domain expansions are derived from other series like territories in Yu Yu Hakusho, right? So I have no issue with an author taking something and then rebranding it for their own like for their own purposes, for their own story, for their own narrative. But this just feels so to me. This feels like like the Itachi like killing the clan subplot, but without any of the fucking nuance or like interest or like anything like any of the politics behind it. Like it just feels like such a uh like like a shallow inspiration from it, right? Like don't get me wrong, Tabata's been doing pretty well, especially with this recent arc, but it feels like he saw that, right? He saw the Uchiha massacre and was just like, I'ma just take the bare bones of that, right? Granted, this is just the beginning of the subplot. It can and probably will improve in terms of like nuance or depth or just intrigue in general as we go on. But it's just right now I'm just not very interested in this plot right now, right? I'm just not very interested in it. I don't really care for it all that much, right? It's okay. The chapter is all right. Um and I certainly think it's not like bad by any means, but I'm definitely more looking forward to next chapter because we're gonna see, I think her name is Ichika or whatever, Yami's sister going up against Asta like at full power. So I think that's gonna be cool. Like I think Tabata definitely knows how to fucking put some clean ass action together. So I think next chapter and maybe even the chapter after that
I'm
are gonna
back.
be cool. Okay, what's up? But I really am not. I'm not like super fucking engaged with like what's happening right now. It feels it's just a bit less interesting. How'd you feel about the Black Clover chapter though? I've just been kind of going
So,
over it.
obviously, there is no comparison between Black Clover and Naruto because Black Clover is better. Let's just get that out of the way. Second of all, I don't know how I felt about this because like we know Nami's not Nami. Oh my god, Yami's not evil. We like kind of know that like there's probably something more going on here, but it's cool, I guess. In the sense of like fleshing out the character of Yami's sister, and I guess like the politics of the Land of the Sun. I was about to say
Mm.
Wano, dude. uh, and there's also like the fact that there does seem to be something cooler going on here because the obvious thing, right? Like I'm telegraphing it now, chat. All right, so everybody take notes.
Mm.
If it turns out that the guy like
Ryudo,
yeah,
yeah.
he turns out to be like a Julius style villain, bro. I'm gonna be like, this is some Mishima level like ripping yourself off shit that I've like, bro.
Hmm.
Once is cool, twice is insanity, right? Like, benevolent ruler turns out to be the secret villain behind the entire thing the whole time. No, you get one. You get one of those, Tabata.
I mean, the reason I hope it's not is just because it feels so kind of like it just feels so. I hate using the fucking term uninspired. It just feels so like boring.
Like derivative.
I
I get it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um. It's just because like okay, the thing is right, and someone in chat brought up like it's not even executed yet. Don't judge it too early, and I think there is like some credence to what you're saying, right? But we also like when you produce a like a product and put it out on a weekly basis, right? That product then becomes subject to like criticism or opinion on a weekly basis, right?
mm,
So with the obvious caveat of Tabata can turn this around maybe by next chapter on some goat shit, right? It's possible, but based on what we're seeing here, right? I think this is very boring, and I don't, and I personally can't see a way to make it that great because, like, everybody and their mother knows Yami's fucking a good guy,
guy,
right?
yeah.
Like, duh, right? If Tabata like next chapter is like Yami just fucking evilly smiling to himself on the toilet or some shit, right? Okay, maybe, right? Maybe you can break my ankles, right? And you can hit me with some crazy plot twist that I really fuck with, right? That's possible. I don't want to like pretend that possibility doesn't exist, but I think the overwhelming opinion is Yami didn't do this shit, or he was framed, or there was a justifiable reason. And with that, it kind of doesn't feel that intense or special. And I can't help but look at like Yami's sister and just be like, no, but you're wrong though. Like there's no like you're incorrect. I'm sorry. You are mistaken.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't come from a sense of sympathy because I don't like her. She's annoying. She's a very like mean spirited person.
Person, yeah.
I do not like her character.
Oh,
Oh, and not
sorry,
yeah.
I will say there is one thing I liked about that interaction, and that was just Asta saying, "I'm sorry, I can't back down on this."
Yeah.
Square up. Like,
Yeah. That was definitely cool. It's just like, I mean, yeah, you are her sister, and like you've been pretty nice, but Yami's Yami. You know, you're not you know, that's not
oh, dude, I will say her form, her like darkness form, goes crazy though. That was
her
awesome.
darkness form is cool. If nothing else, Tabata can fucking draw. That's what I'm saying, bro. That shit was cool. That you're definitely spitting on that.
Even the
I'm just
transition from the scroll, like, and the darkness consuming her into that armor, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty dope, pretty dope, pretty dope. Like from an artistic standpoint, Tabata like it obviously didn't miss here. Um, I don't know. I'm like it like Tabata could turn it around right now. Not feeling it. not feeling it. I'd give this chapter like a 6 out of 10. Like it's
Yeah.
not bad by any means, but I just wasn't feeling the fever on this one.
Yeah, same here. Speaking to a chapter I did feel the fever on, My Hero.
Yeah.
I did not realize the discourse surrounding this chapter was so like back and forth, because I
Mm-hmm.
remember last chapter, like the chapter before the one that released today. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people were like, take away his pen, he can't write. Like it was like that
Take
genre
away
of
his pen,
pen.
take away his ink, take away his paper. Get him out of here.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this week it's like, okay, he can have him back. What?
Yeah, yeah, bro. That's fucking us fans for you, bro. You gotta keep us entertained on a week to week basis, or else. No. So I saw some people like on Twitter, whatever, the place where all great takes go to die. And it was like this is like we don't care about this. Nobody gives a fuck, right? Like give us cool shit again, and I can kind of understand the sentiment, right? Because to some like kind of like base level, I have the sentiment myself of, to me, right? This is a backstory. This is a backstory. Like Shoji, like multiple arm guy, right?
Yeah.
I feel like his whole thing is compelling, right?
Yeah.
But why has it not been established before? Like we've been having school arcs this entire time. You could establish this character before this, right? And like I said, like even in this singular chapter, Horikoshi is competent enough to make me be like, oh yeah, I fuck with this, right? Like, this is solid. I understand, cool, dope, right? But I understand this sort of like weird placement because we were just seeing like Deku cook the shit out of Shigaraki and All for One, right? We were just seeing like literally the top two characters in the verse go at it, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
just punching each other and just going at it. And then we see Spinner and Shoji going at it, right?
Yeah.
I like the chapter, but I can definitely see how somebody would be like, well, okay, this is cool and all, but like
Came out of
not
nowhere.
here, right? It's not like it's cool in the wrong spot. Like, bro, you're cooking, but like, why are you making dessert? We want steak. Like, what's going on,
Yeah.
right? It's not that you're doing anything particularly wrong in terms of like the content of the chapter, but people want like the build up, like it because Deku versus Shigaraki is the just hands down
So,
the most climactic battle in the series,
yeah,
right?
it's definitely the one everybody, me included, is like really like clamoring for,
Mm.
which makes it like I'll put it to this like this, right? I like this fight more than the Toga fight.
Oh, dude, bro. Listen, the Toga fight. We haven't really seen it much of it. Bro, I'm praying Horikoshi fucking goes hard because I can tell that's gonna be simply like a pretty lengthy fight. Like it's probably gonna be like 2 or 3 chapters like consecutive of it if I just had to guess, right?
Yeah.
And I'm praying Horikoshi fucking cooks with this one, man. I don't want to sit through like 2 to 3 or even 4 weeks of just like fucking Toga being like, I love you,
You.
and
Yeah.
Uraraka being like, but I'm a hero, and like, please, bro, please. Like I'm begging you, I want that to hit, right?
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
also like, no offense to Uraraka, but come on, man. There's only so much gaslighting. Like, never mind.
oh no, bro, he hates women. I'm crazy. That's crazy.
Wow.
Bro said Uraraka, fodder,
I
garbage.
meant
Get
there's
her out of
only
my manga.
bro, there's only so much patience a person can have for somebody like Toga. It's like, bro, I I want to feel sympathy for you, but the literal second I do, I know you're stabbing me. Like what do you
Yeah.
want?
Yeah. Okay. So let me take fucking negative stance first, and then give my somewhat kind of like rebuttal ish thing, right? Negative stance is okay. You put this in the wrong place. Good message, wrong place. Nobody cares anymore, right? We've already seen Deku use his like new quirk. He's the fucking Flash, right? He's gear shifting and shit. Like he's quick and strong, right? Cool. Meathead shit on 10, right? I don't want to see Spinner
Yeah,
and Shoji
Spinner.
fight.
Bro,
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? Like you and I have spoken at length about this whole Spinner thing.
Yes.
And I still don't get it, dude. I just do not give a crap about Spinner. Like the League of Legends thing was the closest thing I felt to like compelling from him. Like
Oh nah, bro said you playing League of Legends was like your most interesting trait. I'm disgusted.
literally, I mean, low key, I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, nerd. I don't know, like wait, like okay.
It's weird. It's weird though too because this is probably the moment you would want to see the most from Spinner, but he's a mindless
Monsters,
fucking
yeah,
moron right
he's in
now.
his Hulk form, yeah, and like I get what like okay, this chapter's highlights were Tentacle like
Hmm.
on his shit, like
Hmm.
spitting like fucking Horikoshi's art, like the message. It was all cool, right?
Yeah.
And getting to know more about him. That moment with Class 1A was like, oh, this shit's really cool. Like I almost teared up, right?
Yeah.
But Spinner in his fucking Hulk form with like dragon scales and come on.
It was yeah. I definitely get it. Now I think this was it is good. It is cool that like Horikoshi was because like you could have very easily phoned it in with Shoji, right, and made him
Yeah.
uninteresting. But I do think he was pretty cool. He was pretty cool, right? Like when Spinner calls him gross and he's like, yeah, this is who I am. I think that goes kind of hard. Like as he's like preparing to punch the shit out of him. I'm like, okay, cool. You got some bars for real. But it is like this is the type of stuff that I feel like should be the buildup, right? Someone in chat said like Horikoshi like we like we're ready for like the main course and Horikoshi's force feeding us appetizers, right? And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good analogy because a lot of the things I feel like should be building up to Deku versus Shigaraki, not interrupting that fight. Um
No,
like imagine,
I,
yeah,
I, I, I get what
mhm,
you mean,
perfect,
100%. I
yeah,
think where
perfect analogy.
I think where I come from this is like, he's really good at writing Class 1A and stuff, but he's really weird about writing the League of Villains, right? Because like with the exception of maybe Dabi and Twice asterisk, I'd say Horikoshi's like he doesn't neglect them, but it's like he doesn't pay as much attention to them as he should.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Horikoshi like he spends too much time in places that don't matter and spends too little time in places that do. That's how I feel about it. Um, that's kind of that's that's my stance on the whole thing. I will say um, that like I think Toga's also pretty good and like pretty competently written within the story. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree. I feel like Horikoshi does a lot like a weird amount of time to certain things. It's just also because it feels also kind of like okay, this also feels like such a if the conflict is going to end here and in the next chapter, it's like oh this feels so shallow, right? Like the heteromorph thing, right? That whole arc, people have been clamoring for that for like months, if not
Really?
years. Bro, yeah, we talked about it on the podcast, bro. Like that was where the Spinner discussion stemmed from, right?
Oh,
People are
right.
interested in Spinner because he signals that arc, right? But
I see.
Horikoshi probably is not giving that. We're seeing,
Like
I don't
okay,
know,
like
2 to 3 more chapters, maybe.
and it's not like a lack of competency on Horikoshi's part. I think the writing he did, like the dialogue he did with what's his name, Tentacle, like his real name.
Yeah, Shoji.
Yeah, Shoji. It was pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot more. I'll be real. It was a lot more than I thought he was gonna go with.
Mm-hmm.
Just speaking frankly,
Yeah.
and I still felt like there was just something off about Spinner, right? The way he handled Spinner's side of it, because the I don't care thing was like,
Yeah.
but he does though. Like he really cared.
Yeah. Um.
Oh,
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. It's like there was a potential. It's like it's a mix of this is misplaced, so we don't want this, but also we wanted this at a different time.
in a different
It's
way.
like in a different way, but more, like it's like it's Horikoshi in my opinion, right? There are going to be plenty of people that are satisfied with this, obviously, right? But I think Horikoshi's kind of like burning the candle at both ends here because what he's doing is he's not giving the satisfying arc to people that like wanted an entire arc dealing with this because there are sprinkles of like that heteromorph sort of like discrimination, right? There's like the heroes that look most like the villain
Villains.
thing,
But yeah, but
right?
I was thinking about that, right? The thing with Gang Orca was the first time we heard that. And I
Mhm.
immediately flashed to it and I was like, wait, hold up, why didn't they acknowledge how bizarre that list is? Like, because
Yeah, exactly.
in universe, Horikoshi's now telling us, yeah, bro, that shit is fucked. It's like, but you didn't present it like that. You just presented it as like another title card. What?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. I think the thing is, you could have made a commentary on how people look at that type of shit and just like proceed like process it as normal and done that whole arc like going over that, but you didn't, right?
Bro.
Or at least you haven't so far. The thing is, that's why I feel like he's kind of fucking up both like extremes. Is like, okay, the people who don't want this at all are going to be mad at you regardless of how much you put in, and the people who wanted an entire arc are going to be mad because you're probably going to give them 5 chapters for this conflict max. Right, so the only people are like that are going to be, in my opinion, satisfied are the people that are kind of in the middle there. That are like, yeah, I kind of wanted to see something about this, and I don't really care if the fight is interrupted. Whatever. All right, like imagine for a second, right? This is what it feels like if Yuji and Todo versus Mahito was interrupted by like fucking Nobara versus Haruta. That shit would be ass. That would be so bad. Yeah. That's such a weird pace disruptor, right? Because this is the climax of an arc, not just of a random arc either, of like the biggest event up to date, right? That's crazy to do. And I'm like, okay, you can make it work, right? And maybe this will work better on like a continuous, like a binge read, right? But it's weird. It's definitely weird, and I definitely understand people's criticisms with it. I think this chapter in isolation is cool, but there are so many external factors for this chapter that make it kind of like subpar when you contextualize it with the rest of the series and where everything's at. That like I definitely do understand people's upsetness with it.
Yeah, I guess I do too, and I don't know. I was never involved in that kind of discussion because I didn't care about Spinner. He was always like he's there, but I think the fact that he didn't have any flashy powers, and the fact that his costume is literally just like him standing Stain, and I think the broader introduction, like late introduction of the like I guess racial conflict in My Hero Academia, was all just kind of like it's kind of too little, too late. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Horikoshi delivering this pizza 3 arcs too late.
That literally,
for sure,
bro,
man.
literally, it was like, I mean, thanks, but I'm not paying for this cold thing, right? Like I'll take it, but like you're
like, bro, I already ate.
Yeah.
Like I had to, and the thing is, I didn't eat pizza. I had to go get a fucking burger, right? I had to go eat from someone else. Like someone else had to bring me food. Now I don't want this. Get the shit out of my face.
Like I'll take it if it's free, right? I'll take it if you're gonna give me like a replacement hot pizza like tomorrow or something. But like this right now, no.
Yeah, nah, I'm chilling. Yeah. I'm still disgusted by that fight with Haruta.
Fight.
That's funny. Anyways, that should anyways, let me not get on the Nobara hate train. Let me not.
There's something about this chapter that I find interesting, right? And that's like the timeline. He said, you set us back 30 years. And I just thought that was so fascinating because My Hero Academia is like in-universe timeline, right? It's supposed to be roughly 100 years into the future of 2014. When the series first came out, right? So it's technically taking place in 2114. Meaning, when he said, you set us back 30 years, that's roughly 2074.
Yeah.
Right? So it kind of signals to me, like, what is the canonical civil rights timeline of the My Hero Academia like quirk?
But the thing is, like, we'll never get that shit. We're not gonna get that. And it's like, to me, right? It's like, don't introduce that idea, or introduce it and bring it like do something it's like, with it, man.
What does that expansion even look like? Okay, so 30 years ago, was there like heteromorph segregation? Like was there was like what did that look like?
I think if I had to guess, right? What Shoji's referring to is like the outlook on them is going to be even more fucking like rather than like a civil rights thing, it's going to be more of like an outlook thing, right? It's going to be like oh bro, they already like they barely tolerated us before, right? Like if the abuse in the boonies that we got was not enough, right? Now like in like cities and shit like that, we won't be able to walk around without getting like attacked and abused.
Yeah,
right?
But I think what I would have liked
like
to see is like even in the background some kind of broad anti-heteromorph campaign that's like, these heteromorphs are they're subhuman or whatever, right? You get
I think we did get that to some extent. Like it was in the like the League of Villains arc. I think like
No,
they
no, no. I
killed.
know, I know, but that
Oh,
was like
okay.
the clan, right? I'm talking like on a societal level, right? Because that's what they're frustrated with fundamentally,
Hmm.
is like the like systemic problems of like heteromorph discrimination, right?
Hmm.
So I wonder, right? Like, what did that look like, right?
Yeah.
Because it still had to take place in the real world, like, but 100 years from now, I don't know. The timeline of it really messes with me because the quirks as a concept in humans didn't really exist until like 100 years, so they kind of had to like press the fast forward button on this process, I guess, and it's just something that I'm like, show me.
Yeah, but now I don't want to see it, right? I want to get back to the main
Yeah,
event,
yeah,
but like I
obviously.
wish you would have showed me before.
I mean,
Um,
bro, like, what do you think? Like, cool little bit of world building, no? Like,
I think so.
yeah, it
I
would have
think you
added
could
a lot.
dedicate.
Yeah,
I think you could dedicate an entire arc to the heteromorph like build up, so
yeah,
that this conflict makes more sense for like Spinner, and it makes Shoji's like him trying to convince him. It makes it more powerful because it's like, no, I understand, right? And we, the audience, would completely understand too, right? And it's like, but in spite of that, the revolution you're desiring, you should probably go about it in a different way, right? Because like I also don't necessarily like fully agree with the standpoint, like the sort of more passive standpoint that Shoji's taking. Like from like a not just like a writing standpoint, but from like an actual like uh I don't know, like socio-political standpoint. Like the way to like get what we want is to show them how good we are at heart, right? I'm like, I
what?
don't know what.
No, no, just that's a crazy take.
No, I'm saying that's what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
no,
the
no,
take
no.
that Shoji has
Yeah, no,
is.
no. I'm just,
Um,
yeah, I just like
and I'm
remembered that.
saying
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm saying I disagree with that, like that sentiment of like it's okay, right? We just have to like show them we're really good, and and I'm like, okay, well,
wow.
I don't agree with that, but I think there's some like if they have a back and forth, and Spinner's like, if Spinner was a fucking intelligible creature right now, he'd be able to probably say like, okay, but you've been doing that shit for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Like what,
Also,
where's that change at?
I find it very weird that Horikoshi chose to make him a mindless monster in the context of this, like,
That's what I'm like,
yeah,
and everybody's just no thoughts, head empty, right? I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know how I feel about that.
It's also
Because you're,
really
yeah,
weird because it's contextually like Japan specific in this case, but there's
yeah.
something like so like I did Japan like invent the like heteromorph segregation or something it's like a thing where I'm like Horikoshi's like as with Shoji as a mouthpiece or whatever, huh, mouthpiece, just because he can do the mouth thing with his arms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hilarious, hilarious.
yeah, thank you. I'm here all day. And he said these takes. I was like, okay, so Horikoshi, he knows what's up, but why does it feel so hollow, right? I was like,
Yeah,
there's something about the way he's executing on this that just like doesn't resonate. I'm trying, and I've been having
yeah,
trouble understanding why until right now. It's like he he says it, and it like I get what he's trying to do, but it comes from a fundamentally like empty place, I think.
yeah. It feels devoid of a lot, right? Like I think the way he tackles like Shigaraki and like the neglect he faced and like how that led to and the abuse and all that shit. Like I think that has nuance, right? Dobby being abused and like all of that shit, like the Todoroki family, that has nuance, right? This is kind of just, you know, these people are oppressed, right? And they're like fucking dumb, and then like I don't know, it's just like they're mindless or they're like inherently violent or whatever. And one good one, right? One of the good
Good
ones
ones, yeah.
has to really show them what's up, right? I understand your pain, but and somebody in
Like
chat fucking said it, bro. They're just like, Shoji wants to do non-violence
non-violence.
is crazy, but it's like it's exactly like the but we just got to show them how good we are, and like I'm like, okay, there is a middle ground between mindless destruction and like essentially just existing within society, dealing with it and doing nothing, right? I think there is a middle ground that maybe Horikoshi will address. I doubt it, but it's like technically possible, but like honestly, this went from a chapter I was like, oh, this is pretty solid, to like as we continued to talk about it and like kind of picked it apart. I'm like, no, no, I don't want to go to bat for this chapter anymore.
Now,
Um,
obviously, we're getting into a part in even in chat where we're kind of paralleling like real life racism. Uh,
mm,
I will be real with you. I need to mute up because these sirens are actually seriously driving me crazy. Hold on.
interesting. Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you. It's a tone deaf way to write it, like fifth grader saying racism bad. You kind of spitting. You kind of spitting. I think, and like I don't want to portray like this shit is easy to write, but you do definitely see it lacks a lot of like of perspective and nuance. It's kind of just because like okay, Spinner is
Fucking
their
hell,
leader,
dude.
right?
Yeah. So
Spinner
they're
is their fucking mouthpiece,
yeah,
and
and
he's a bumbling buffoon who got tricked by All for One, a person who does not experience the same thing.
yeah.
Like, isn't that a weird like? Ugh,
Ugh.
it's kind of
Okay, I got to mute up to ask this question.
okay. I don't know. Um, mm, nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. But um, yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It's definitely a super shallow kind of interpretation on it, which I would just rather you just not address the issue, right? If you're not gonna do it competently, cool, whatever. Not everybody can, right? Not everybody knows what they're talking about, right? But just okay. But like
Hmm.
just don't do it or do it like with a modicum of like
Research,
intelligence,
care, yeah.
research, care, perspective, right? Like none of that shit. It's like ah,
I don't,
baby's first like racism addressing. I'm like,
feels fucking great, man. Look at you using baby's first blank. That's me,
uh-huh,
baby.
uh-huh,
That's
uh-huh.
me. That's
For
all.
sure,
That's
man. You
all
definitely came
Koreans.
up with that phrase. I remember that. You know. Hold on. I will let you. I'm gonna let you take over. I need to pee. I'll be right back.
All right. So chat, listen. Three things. One, y'all better like this fucking stream. All right. Number two, we are slowly rolling out more episodes on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff. You can find the links, probably wherever. I'll include it in chat a little bit later. But Honored One's catalog, backlog library is being released. It just takes a bit of editing to get there. Lastly, and this is super important, just to touch on this spinner thing for a bit. I find it interesting that Horikoshi had set up Spinner to essentially be this kind of revolutionary figure in the context of My Hero Academia and being responsible for the liberation of heteromorphs in the series. But then when he gets down to it, right, big moment, he's like leading. He's supposed to be leading the charge. He starts hulking out, loses all control, and immediately everything he had built, his entire like cult of personality, just goes like right out the window. He's like, I don't care, I'm Hulk now, and I'm like, what? What? Why? Like, where was that guy? Where was the guy that was like, we will like, not tolerate this any longer? Anyway, let me catch up on chat. But yeah, run them likes up. Run them likes up. Is Hori a fourth quarter choker? I don't know what that is. From context, I assume it's somebody who. Oh no, wait, I do know who that is. That's who. I'm an idiot. Wow. No, for real though, who's the guy with the big mouth that was already speaking for Spinner? Yeah, I think they revealed that guy in like a different chapter. He was like some kind of paranormal liberation front person. I think that got carried over. I think Spinner even had a very good chance of being a leader, the common man turned leader type stuff. Yeah. Like Spinner really was set up to, I think, do a lot more than Horikoshi let him do. I'm here. Okay, it's not slander, bro. It's funny. This podcast was built on My Hero Academia criticisms, not slander. Criticisms, honest criticisms. All right.
Yeah. We
Oh,
both really like My Hero and would never ever say anything negative about it without it being completely constructive.
mm.
Hashtag sponsored. No. But yeah, I think this was it was a chapter.
Yeah.
I don't hate it still, but I mean,
The
I
art was
definitely
cool.
think
Final panel and the little moments
yeah,
of Class 1A. Like Shoji's storyline was like a 10, but Spinner's was like a 2.
yeah,
So, I don't know. I guess like a 7.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just, I'll, what are you rating? What are you rating this chapter?
6.57.
Yeah, okay. I'm mirroring that. I kind of agree.
All right.
Yeah.
Now onto the main event here. Um,
hmm
Now before we do, guys, I'm serious about getting those likes up. All right, I warned you once, but I'm not gonna tell you again. I actually am gonna
Gonna
tell you
say
again.
he
Yeah,
warned you.
yeah. I mean, listen, bro, listen. I need to go get a tissue. Oh my god. Give me
Yeah,
a second.
bro. Creams is exactly like that fucking video of the dog wearing the Daredevil helmet, like trying to be intimidating. Anyways, so JJK chapter 202, otherwise known as the time that fiction peaked. This chapter really good. What am I looking at? Anyways, this chapter was really good. Like really, really, really good. It starts off, honestly, the first page is kind of a fucking bombshell,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Because the first page is just no other star plasma vessels except me.
Me.
I'm
Yeah.
like, wait,
So
Yuki,
right off,
you're
right
a
off rip.
I'm like,
Yeah.
just punched in the mouth with a review. I'm like,
Bro
huh?
didn't even
Wait,
make a
wait,
grand reveal. He off screened
yeah,
that reveal. Like, whoa, whoa, hold up. How I thought there could only
yeah,
be one at a time. I thought
yeah. You
what?
literally just immediately you just change any like idea we had about it. It's like, no, 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 you're wrong. Like I never told you that. I'm like, well, fair, but like what? Like
Yeah.
I knew this
So
chapter was gonna be crazy when the first page is literally like one of the biggest reveals
feels
lore wise we've
yeah.
ever had in the series.
And then like Yuki's attitude towards him is also super interesting. It's just this kind of like fuck you old man kind of like
Yeah.
uh dynamic that I first of all really like fuck with a lot. But second, Yuki's abilities I can't quite seem to place because they seem to be sort of like telepathic in nature, but not really because it doesn't seem to apply to cursed spirits, which is technically what Tengen is closer to. So
Well, her ability isn't so much telepathic. It's I think because she's a star plasma vessel or a past one, those vessels like she can hear them, right? I don't think it's necessarily an ability that like works for like outside parties. It's she is connected to them. Let's see, very similar to like Sukuna can talk to Yuji when nobody else can, right? Like or Yuji can hear Sukuna when nobody else can, right? But um,
yeah, so
but Yuji's not telepathic, right?
yeah, but is it specific to the star plasma vessel thing, or is it like an ability she seems to have natively with like sorcerers and stuff? Because I don't think this ability would work on somebody like Maki, who doesn't, have cursed energy, isn't considered even like a person really by cursed energy. So maybe like that's the condition. Like, would she like okay? Would Yuki, if it was like sorcerer's telepathy, would she even be able to hear somebody like Sukuna in Yuji's like inner world?
No, because I don't think her hearing the vessels is indicative of like an ability she has outside of the vessels. It's a connection to them specifically. That's what I think. Right? It's like she can't hear anybody's voices outside of them, right? That's what I think.
Well,
Because there's this yeah.
sorry,
That's the
Maki wouldn't listen anyway is kind of crazy, but that's funny.
yeah.
I think she'd listen to
Um
Yuki.
nah. Um nah. Nah, Maki won't listen until some person with sheer lethality pulls up.
Yeah, of course, bro. Not until I pull up. You're right.
Bro, you are getting low diffed by a cold.
Cold,
What are you
yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, no,
Anyways,
worst time for me to say that line, but hey.
yeah. Y'all think Yuki and Tengen gonna fuse on some Piccolo Kami shit?
Is
Bro, that would be
seems like too little too late, honestly.
that's a funny fucking visual to me. But yeah, no, it is definitely too little too late. But yeah, this is interesting. Now, somebody hold on, I'm gonna pull up the fucking tweet because somebody had mentioned like a thing they mentioned like they had found or like kind of come to think about, but it was about like the proliferation of Tengen's voice, right? Like
Yeah.
Yuki mentions that like it doesn't do that anymore, right? And that's because he evolved to become like a cursed spirit. So like I think they were bringing up like yeah, it makes sense. Yuki kind of seems to have her hands in every sort of like event if she could by proxy of hearing the star plasma vessel's voice could hear Tengen's like thoughts and knowledge like before he transformed into like a cursed spirit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
um
Okay. Interestingly, with Tengen and Yuki's dialogue,
Mm,
one of the things that seems to, I don't know, that I get from my reading of it is that
mm-hmm.
Yuki's introduction into the world of sorcery was as a potential vessel for Tengen, right?
Yes, I think
Now,
so as well.
there are three questions that this brings up. One is what made her refuse it. Two, what about her also contributed to her being a special grade, or were the two like mutually exclusive? Meaning, is she a special grade because she has the capacity to be Tengen's vessel, or does she happen to also have the capacity to be a special grade in addition to Tengen's vessel, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and number three, it seems like she really hates Tengen, like really hates
Yeah.
him. So why not, as a special grade, just go over there and do what you got to do?
Tengen seems to be. I don't. I mean, she seems to like want to talk more with Tengen though. And Yuki probably doesn't have like. She probably has more moral qualms with just killing him outright if he doesn't like, or if she rather, fucking doesn't I guess like attack her first or directly oppose what she wants. Like I personally don't get the vibe that she's just like, oh, if I disagree with you or dislike you, I'm just going to kill you, right? She doesn't give me those types of like those vibes of just yeah, fuck it, I don't like you, die, right? I don't get that from Yuki.
I see.
She definitely seems like a much like more humane person, like a special grade that's definitely not normal, right? But like in terms on the moral spectrum is kind of like a relatively like well-adjusted human being, right? Who like wants to see the evolution of like away from cursed energy. Maybe this is her way of spiting Tengen though, right? Getting like in part because she wants to create a world without curses, right? But in part also because in a world where cursed energy is null and void, Tengen's sort of like necessary to the world goes away too, right?
True. Like the
Um,
barrier technique keeping cursed energy in Japan is
yeah.
probably a huge thing. You know, okay. On that note, though, there is something about like Tengen that I just find infinitely more suspicious with like every interaction they have. In that there seems to be a kind of sinister quality laying underneath. Like
Mhm.
Yuki, even kind of says so as much. Basically comes out and says as much. She's like, I won't let you justify like your Whoa, funky
Whoa!
month. What?
Oh shit, a hundred
100.
dollars.
Yo, thank you so
Yo,
much, funky monk.
appreciate the fucking $100, man.
Uh,
Holy shit, I almost fell back out of my
yeah,
chair.
dude, I almost,
I almost got cooked. That was
oh,
almost it for me.
yeah.
We appreciate that. Love you guys.
This,
Enjoy my Sundays much more because y'all.
thank you so much, funky
Yeah,
monk.
appreciate it, man.
I,
Appreciate it.
oh,
That shit's goaded. You goaded for that.
yeah, that was
Ooh.
crazy. Straight
Now,
red
I,
soup.
what
Yeah,
were what were we talking about?
I completely forgot. Oh my god. Um,
I
Oh, she just calls
bro.
Tengen out on his bullshit. She's like, "Oh,
Oh
you're
yeah.
you're not gonna act like an enlightened being in front of me to justify your heinous
Mm.
actions, bro." Thank you so much, dude. Wow.
Yeah, thank you, man, thank you. We appreciate that. We're glad we could fucking help your weekends out. Then, holy shit.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
Thank you so much. I mean,
yeah,
we just be waffling, like,
yeah. Well,
uh,
he do. I be spitting for the.
okay.
Uh, anywho. Yeah, I do like their back and forth. I do like there's a little like just a little characterization thing where she's like, I hate talking about like what ifs of the past or like what could have been. I don't know. I think it's interesting because you kind of can glean that from her discussion with Geto and Kenjaku respectively,
Hmm.
right? Because she does make allusions to the past in both. She's like, it's a shame Toji died. I really wanted to I say work with, but experiment on, right? And then with Kenjaku, he's like, yeah, we're going back to that. We're fucking yeah, we're running that one back. All right. I don't really. Yeah.
uh,
Ugh.
Here's my thing. Tengen is born. Cursed technique release realized. Options are live forever or die like a normal sorcerer. How has it taken this long for come on, live. 10 grand mommy to not want to clock out till now. Uh Yeah, I don't actually know what Tengen's goals are. Like, why keep it pushing, right? Because, like, if it's just to keep the barrier up, then fine, I guess. But if that's the case,
Why do you
yeah,
care?
Tengen says as much in this chapter. Yeah, I just found a workaround to not needing the vessel, if I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So it's like, okay, cool. So why did you take the other vessels? Why did you go looking for what's her name? Ruka. God,
Rico?
Rico. God, dude,
Bro, Mo
I'm
fumbled 3 separate times, like, and then said it one time like he would actually remember her name. Ruka. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
got it, I got it, I got
bro.
it.
I
Nah,
am
you're sick.
literally just like I am running on nothing but Dayquil and beef broth.
Ew.
Fuck
But
you mean
yeah,
ew? Beef broth slaps, bro. You never have ramen?
yeah, I've had ramen. Bro, I'm not about to have this fucking discussion with you right now.
Because
Anyways,
I'm spitting. Like there's no discussion to be had. I'm
you're
simply
spitting
preaching.
up phlegm and snot right now, buddy. Anyways, like, yeah, I think this conversation is cool. I think like Tengen's negligence is definitely weird to me. Because Tengen is just kind of like, yeah, I mean, you know, I didn't know for sure if I could contain it with my barriers, but
I
I did.
I mean, I
So
guess I'm just built like that, Like
yeah, it's like just like seasons change, I knew that I had to change eventually. I'm like, bro, that's so what?
like it's very unhinged. Like what?
You're just so it's so you're so lackadaisical about this thing. It's honestly like wild, right? Like you hold a key component to like the world, not imploding, right?
Uh huh.
Maybe it just comes with old age, but I don't. How can you not care so much? How can
So
you be so like relaxed about it?
so I guess this kind of leads into the big question, right? Is Tengen actually enlightened, right? Or is this like an act?
Um,
Like, is Tengen really like a wise old like incorporeous being who just kind of like does whatever it does or whatever, right? Like, is that really the case, or is Tengen just like masking a kind of sinister thing underneath?
it's hard to tell because you don't really get to read Tengen's expressions like you do any other character, right? You don't get to kind of like see behind. I don't know what this like. I don't know what any of these random expressions are. Like, are you
Yeah,
happy? Are you sad? Like, do you feel insulted that Yuki just called you like an old
yeah.
grandpa? Like, what? Like, it's definitely hard to tell. I definitely feel like he's probably. I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. Uh, no, I don't get that. But you can bring it up. Like it's fine to discuss. Like
I don't know.
what? And I don't
Uh,
know. Whatever.
yeah. All right, anyway,
Yeah.
so keeping it pushing.
Yeah. I guess after fucking Cream's breaking my train of thought.
With my awesome fucking 4D chess theory.
Didn't bring it up.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, no.
Um,
Let's not.
yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways, yeah. So this is interesting. I'm interested in like it's kind of weird because we're interrupting them mid conversation. I would fucking kill to see what they were talking about, like what led them to this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, I do think Tengen is moving. Like I would say this, right? Tengen seems like he's moving kind of like a Sukuna, but not in like the malicious sense, in the sense that he's just kind of like, oh, I have my own, like
Goals.
I don't
Yeah.
really, yeah, my own goals. I'm just kind of like, and I don't necessarily think this isn't Tengen's personality, but I also don't think Tengen is necessarily saying everything because why do you not care? You have to know Kenjaku's pulling up, right?
Yeah.
You have to. How
C-
do you not care that he's right there? Like
Yeah,
he's
like one of your barriers getting broken down is not something you can just like overlook, especially because Tengen is supposed to be omnipresent. So like how you not see this?
Yeah. Well, I think the no, I think he did. I think I would have liked to talk with you a bit longer, right? Is with Kenjaku coming in is like indicative of he know or she knows rather. But um it's sort of it's the lack of care, right? It's the lack of urgency. It's just kind of like, oh, my day of reckoning has arrived or whatever, rather
Yeah.
than a like you guys need to stop this,
And it's like,
right?
bro, you asked them to be guards. So like, what did you expect?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
what exactly like, why if you wanted them to guard you, right? Why do you seemingly not care at all?
so,
But that Yeah.
yeah, Tengen sus. We've known this for a while, and it's nice to see that this is like an ongoing, like it's an ongoing development basically.
Hmm.
So
Um.
before we get into Kenjaku's part, what do you think is like Tengen's deal? Just like
Ah.
personally.
I don't even have the fucking faintest idea. I'm just like, cause like, especially with what we see with Kenjaku later on in the chapter, I'm like, you know what? People could just be doing things just because they're interested at this point. I don't know. I really don't have like a really good grasp on what he could possibly be doing. I know I think he's weird and like he or she's weird or whatever, right? And that it's definitely like the the laxness of all of the things that they do is just it's especially with how important this is to, as Kenjaku says, Japan and maybe the entire world. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So I lost about 80% of my energy. So I'm just gonna have
Hmm.
to kind of sprint to the not to the finish line, but just to the next part, which is Kenjaku entering the field,
Hmm.
and his little slideshow. Basically, Kenjaku's motivations. Um, yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
brother, bro.
I really enjoyed this. So I will say, um, like Kenjaku pulling up and like breaking through the barriers, probably the hardest fucking panel or like spread he's in.
Yeah,
Like that shit goes crazy.
I have three.
Um,
I have a couple things to say about this. One, what was his timeline between the U.S. meeting and getting back here? Two, I didn't think it would be this subdued. I thought
mhm.
when he came for Tengen, it would be a lot more spectacle. Like it would be like, oh, he pulls up with an army of cursed spirits, like a la the Night Parade. He comes
Mhm.
in with like Urame or whatever the ice
Arame.
Urame, yeah, the ice lady, ice person, whatever.
Yeah.
And they start getting to work on Chozo and stuff. But I didn't. It's weird. I never thought Kenjaku would actually pull up himself. Like as dumb as that
Yeah,
sounds.
I remember you saying like Kenjaku would not, in fact, like he wouldn't
Yeah.
be on the front line side. What another detail like really
Let
important.
alone by
Thi-
himself. Sorry. Yeah.
yeah, this is in the future, right? So like we've skipped ahead a couple of days since where we saw Yuji and Megumi, right? So when Kenjaku's like, oh yeah, all the things have already come to pass that I need, right? The cooling game has already served its purpose. Like that means what we're seeing is like post the military comes in, post Megami, Yuji, Angel, and
Oh,
Takaba all go. Like this is in the future, right?
interesting.
So Kenjaku's saying like he's not saying this while the military is going in. It's days after, and I'm like, would you fucking kill them? Like, what are they dead? Like, there's no. When Choso asks like how are they doing, I'm like, oh no, that's a valid question because what do you mean the cooling game has served its purpose?
Wait, when was the
Like, what
Culling
happened
game
is,
supposed to end? Do you remember the exact date?
is there a date where they say it's supposed to end?
Because
Um,
Gege said November 16th, 12 a.m. is when Kenjaku does this infiltration of Tengen's lair. Uh,
sure.
so if the culling game's already over, it means that either the process was expedited, like the culling game's finished beyond that like 9-day time limit or whatever. Because didn't Yuji and Megami get to Hakari's place on the second day of the culling games?
No. They got to it by like the 12th. Um, so
Like,
like all of the shit is happening. No, it only like this. What's happening right now, like Kenjaku's whole thing is happening like 3 or 4 days after the events that we've just seen, right? Um, yeah, like it because they take a while to get to Hikari, right? First of all, it takes a while for them to all meet up, right? Then they go to find Hikari, right? And then there's like all of the Hikari versus Kashimo, Yuta versus Sendai, Yuji and Megami and Tokyo calling one. Like all that shit happens on the same day, and then like there's a mini time skip, right? Like a 2 day, 3 day, whatever, for like Megami to wake up, right? So it's like there's a very small window. What's interesting that you brought up though is like I don't think well one I don't know if I would say the cooling games is over. Um,
mm,
I don't know. It served its purpose in it being over. I feel like
are two different things.
are two different things.
Yeah, so I think that's why I'm like having a little trouble with the timeline because it seems like the deadline for Megami and Yuji and all them is saving Sumiki, then unsealing Gojo, and then stopping Kenjaku. I think that's like the list of their priorities in order, roughly. Um,
Yeah.
and it makes me wonder, right? At what stage is the culling games over, right? Like
Yeah.
is it Gojo's freed? No, can't be, because like I'm still of the mind that when Gojo is freed, right? That's like at whatever point short of like the actual formation of Kenjaku's masterpiece, it's culling games is getting stopped, you know?
The thing is, at this point, even if they somehow were to free Gojo, it's already over. If because like unless we think Kenjaku's gonna really be struggling with fucking Choso, Kenjaku has to like not even beat either of them. He just has to merge right with Tengen.
Yeah.
Like it's a very like he can if he drops like I don't know 10 special grade curses or some shit, right? And then just runs up to Tengen. Hey, yeah, thanks. We're merging now. Gojo's not fast enough to get there. Like even if right now, right, as Choso starts squaring up, right, Gojo gets freed. It's over, right? Like assuming that like Yuki cannot fucking put the pause on Kenjaku and get him out of there, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, the casualness of which like Kenjaku pulled up here is making me think like, oh, like, is he gonna win? Like,
Yeah.
is this gonna be like a sort of they have to come back from this instead of
Yeah.
prevent it? Because I'm like, dude, your
What like
your your defense is Choso?
yeah.
Like, nah.
And also it's so maddening, like again, that Kenjaku just showed up by himself. Like as
Yeah.
like to Tengen. I thought this would be more of a final war esque, like, you round up the crew, we're this is like our final like frontier, blah blah blah, like our line in the sand. But no, it was like he happened to pull up at the time, right? He broke down the barrier way easier than I thought he'd do. Because like from the way Tengen made it sound, it was like, oh yeah, dude, his barriers are crazy. They're only second to mine, right? Mine take a while to break down, but I'm just built like that. And then Kenjaku's like, open door. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, and
Yeah.
and then he's like, you know what? I have so much time to kill. I'm gonna give Choso here a little slideshow about like all the things I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
where's the sense of urgency? It like something like the thing that feels off is that Kenjaku still hasn't turned on like the the villain switch, or like the hit the ground running switch.
Well, I think Kenjaku just like so far everything's been going according to plan, right?
Yeah.
As far as we know, nothing has been derailed, not a single factor,
If Japan
right?
got off screen, that's funny. That's a crazy way to phrase that.
Yeah, it's just like nothing has gone wrong, right? So far, like what? Like I can't think of a single thing that is like, damn, it went off the rails, right? Kenjaku seems to have had this like, bro, whatever, I don't give a fuck. You lost already. Like it seems to me that like, in Kenjaku's mind at least, he won as soon as Gojo was sealed,
Yeah.
right? The whole like this is a formality, right? Like okay, this is just like
Nobody can
the
stop
step
me.
by
Yeah.
step, yeah. It's like this is the step by step process to like beat you guys, but I have already won,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. So
None of you are fucking strong enough.
see, I think I know what it is, right? Kenjaku's casualty is something I find fascinating because it's in stark contrast to the desperation that everybody else feels. Namely, Megami and Yuta, right? With Yuta, it's not so much a desperation, but this determination to kill Kenjaku and like do all these things to like end the culling games and do X, Y, and Z, right? And for Kenjaku, he's already like at the finish line, waiting for them to realize that he's already won the race.
Hmm.
And I wonder, right? What can like assuming Yuta can even kill Kenjaku, right? What what does that stop?
It does stop the world from becoming a super curse.
No, no, no. I mean like the domino effect of like the government's, like we've had this conversation the last couple episodes,
Oh,
right? The government's know about cursed energy. Japan is in shambles. Gojo's still sealed. Like assuming even you unseal Gojo, right? The genie can't go back in the bottle.
I think, I think, I think there is like you if even if the genie doesn't go back in the bottle, you just get rid of the genie and the bottle, which I think is what Yuki's trying to do with by eliminating cursed energy,
Energy, yeah.
right? If the thing you want is this power system, and Yuki's like, well, fuck you, it's gone,
Gone,
right?
yeah.
Nobody on the planet has it. Well, then
That's the safest
now,
option. Just
yeah,
yeah.
that is like Yuki, in my opinion, like her goal at least. I don't know if she even has a way to go about it yet, right? But the what she wants is the only like sort of like sidestepping what Kenjaku's done, right? You have to eliminate it completely so that governments don't have a motivation to like attack each other, like try to steal these resources, right?
Yeah.
Because that like outside of that, they're always you're going to be fighting over that the sorcerers that inevitably get awakened in the Cooling Games from like America or China or like the Middle East
or
or
whoever
whatever.
invades Japan,
Yeah.
right? So I guess this kind of like culminates in the big reveal, Kenjaku's motivation.
Mhm. Yeah.
Amazing, dude. As somebody who's been on the Kenjaku like bandwagon, leading the lead conductor on the fucking Kenjaku hype train, choo choo. I'm finally
Uh-huh.
glad to have you on board, man. Feels great. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. For sure, man. I will be taking over now. Thank
No,
you for all your effort.
simply not, bro.
And
You
as
can't.
and
You
as the
BR
new leader of the Kenjaku,
BR. Let's be real. You cannot.
until
You
Miwa
can.
kills him, of
You
course.
cannot dick eat like me, bro. It's not even low diff. Like you know what I mean?
Weird flex, man. Listen, until Miwa kills him, yeah, Kenjaku's pretty cool.
All right. So
Um,
as a recent convert, right? I want to hear, right. First of all, I'm gonna break this down into multiple little stages, right? One,
okay.
his approach to talking with Choso, right? Just the
Hmm.
sheer like audacity of like, you know what? I got time. You want to know my life story,
Yeah.
right? Second, to manifest like a movie theater just to like really sell it. And number three, right? And this is a big one. The actual reveal that everything Kenjaku's doing is just for the fuck of it. Peak, bro. Do you remember a conversation we had not too long ago? It was private. Where I was telling you like I think the main thing that I'm missing is villains with really really simple motivations.
Hmm.
I was, ooh, bro, I was pumping the air. I I was so Can you imagine my reaction reading this chapter? I was so happy, dude. Finally, like this is some shit I fucking eat up, dude. I love villains who have like bare bones motivations, man. It's like I just want to see I like straight up like I just want to see what happens. And Kenjaku just like committing like 1,010% of his mind, body, soul into like achieving this goal on just the sort of notion that maybe it'll look kind of cool. Peak writing. I am a sucker for that.
It is pretty good. I think I fuck with it so far. I am liking it. Right now I feel like a kid holding a crayon in front of a blank piece of paper is kind of hard.
Yeah.
Me and Liv were actually kind of talking about this, right? After we read the chapter, and it was like, is it? It's like, is this a sort of power scaling thing? And it was like it was the Sukuna paints on air, right? I'm like, Kenjaku's like a fucking toddler using a crayon. I'm like, is that like, I wonder if that's we were kind of talking about like if that is an intentional choice on Gege's part to like, because I wonder, right? Is that like supposed to denote a sort of difference? Because it is interesting that that like Gege decided to use both art analogies in that way,
Yeah.
right?
So
That would be
that's actually
it'd be
interesting.
really interesting.
I never even considered that. That's really fucking cool. I will entertain it in that like kind of cool philosophical way.
Mm.
The only reason I don't want to commit to it is just because I'm unsure if it translates like that in Japanese, or if it's just.
What do you mean?
Oh, because a lot of idioms don't translate like from.
Oh yeah, got you.
So I don't know if like that's flowery language, like, or if that's literally like a translation, like a direct translation. Because if it's a direct
Mhm.
translation, yeah, sure, you can argue parallels. But if it's like like the phrase "pot calling the kettle black," just recency bias.
Mhm.
Like that like it probably won't translate to Japanese and vice versa. So that's why
Yeah,
I take it with a grain of salt.
got you. Let's see. What's another thing? One thing I did find interesting is he's like, "Let me show you one possible conclusion to this affair." I'm like, bro, how many outcomes do you think Kenjaku is like foreseeing? Right? I don't know. It's interesting.
JJ's that's true, but that's also so crazy that he did that. Yeah.
I said, I'm curious, and,
Yeah.
and then fucking gave birth. And like, it's like, huh?
He's like,
What?
yeah, like he has like a little journal as like a scientist. He's like, 3 out of 10. Don't
Yeah.
didn't love it.
I really fucking enjoy the dialogue between Choso and Kenjaku this
Yeah.
chapter. He's like, I don't know if this counts as interest, but I have a strange urge to kill you.
Yeah.
And Kenjaku's just like, where's Tengen? Like he doesn't
Bro,
even acknowledge
dude.
he doesn't acknowledge a special grade is sitting there with like killing intent, and he's just like, yeah, okay, where's
Yeah,
Tengen at?
bro. Like, and the audacity to walk away after bringing down the barrier. He didn't like go on the hunt. He's like, oh yeah, don't make me like go past you. He walked away in the opposite direction. He's like, and Choso like had to stop him. He's like, hey man, what do you want? What are you doing all this for? Kenjaku just like the question mark exclamation point bubble is just so audacious to me. It's like, what a dumb question. It sounds like fun. Like just the sheer gall of like being like mad, almost like insulted at Choso asking the question as if like it needs to be anything like crazy. It's like, bro, didn't that shit just sound cool to you? What? Like what
Bro,
more do you need?
them in the fucking movie theaters. Also funny. But all when Kenjaku calls them like he's like, bro, y'all he says like the half breed cursed spirits and humans is like you're all ordinary. He's like you talk about my brothers like that again, I'll kill you. I'm
Bro,
like, oh.
and he was like, bro, but like y'all are so normal. Why do you look so human? Ugh.
He's like, bro, y'all are so, and I'm guessing from a power standpoint too. He's like, bro, I can beat your ass. What are we doing?
He's like, this doesn't surpass my own potential. Y'all are fucking losers. Fuck.
Bro's, that shit was. He's like, if you talk about my little brothers again, I'll kill you without waiting for the slideshow to end. I'm like, bro, you are. He's like, fine, whatever, man. I just want to finish this shit.
Yeah, like, this is what I mean, by the way, about Kenjaku like not having any pride. He didn't. That was a direct threat on his life at some point. He was like, ugh. Dork, like just fucking like he was like, oh,
you're so brother. Not fun.
He's like, brothers, the dead ones.
Whatever.
Like fuck him, bro. Like for like, why do you even still care? Like,
bro, when Choso asks like, what exactly do you want? He's like, did you not understand the thing I just showed you?
Yeah, he's like, are you deaf? Like it reminds me of that shit with Mahito where he's like, I can hear you just fine, but Kenjaku means it, right? He's not using it to antagonize Choso. It's coming like that's his sincere reaction. It's like,
did you not
were you not
listen?
listening?
Are you stupid?
Bro, the seats were comfortable. Like
bro, I felt like I was explaining it too.
Like I even gave you visual aids. Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, bro, come on.
And just this one panel. What if the conglomeration of cursed energy ends up looking like a funny face? It was just this moment of like bliss, like of like the masterclass in writing, right? That this panel encompasses for me is just so beautiful. Like it's so amazing in just the duality of the panel of like this monster next to the Japanese Eiffel Tower, right? With this fucking silly face. Both.
Did you say the Japanese Eiffel Tower?
Yeah, you don't know about that?
Isn't it called Tokyo Tower? Or
yeah, but like
bro called it.
No. So it was actually modeled after the Eiffel Tower. In fact, a lot of places throughout the world actually replicate the Eiffel Tower, like Las Vegas and China. So it's just shorthand in my brain. Anyway, so the monster next to Tokyo Tower and the little funny face are literally both his considerations. Like those are like I like the panels kind of like I think betray the fact that like these are the panel sizes. I mean, betray the fact that these are both equally interesting to Kenjaku. Like whether it becomes
he's just what if it's just a fucking clown face? Like I know I'd laugh. I'm like, you little, and Choso's reaction, it makes it because he probably feels like he's being mocked throughout this entire conversation. Like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean you're fascinated? Fuck you, die. He's like I'm charging up that piercing blood more than I ever have before.
Yeah, bro. And it's like you can almost tell Kenjaku's thinking, bro, he's never met a scientist before. That's crazy.
Like, man, you don't even know for real.
Yeah.
And okay, so I remember. Now I'm gonna do a throwback, right? Okay. A little bit of a throwback. Just because this is something we talked about back when we did the pre-recordeds all the time, right? And it was when Yuta was in Sendai, right? You're like, I'm gonna need Yuta to like low diff everybody if I'm gonna be impressed by his power. I'm not gonna lie to you. Kenjaku better not get hit once. Kenjaku better not get hit once, bro. I feel the same way now that you said you felt when Yuta was going up against like the Sendai like sorcerers. Like if like piercing blood, catch that shit.
Yeah.
Like with your bare hands right now.
I'm glad you finally see the vision, bro. I love it. Like jokes aside, bro. Like jokes aside, I'm really glad like you see the method to my madness sometimes. It makes me feel good. Like,
Yeah, bro. I hope because like obviously we saw him beat his ass, right? But
right.
like you can argue that's a tired Choso. What's happening with a full power, an angry Choso, right? Like catch, nah, bro. I need like, bro, cat, nah. If he catches that shit with his bare hands, like, well, okay, yeah, you guys are ordinary,
Yeah.
just like I fucking said.
Dude,
Like,
and I'm talking like catching it with no damage. None of Choso's
yeah,
blood gets in
yeah,
there.
no,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, bro. Just like a impressive, I guess.
I mean,
Like, nah,
no,
not.
no, no, no. This is what I want Kenjaku to do. I want him to like catch it in the same way Urame did, right? With like
Mhm.
direct to hand, look at it and be like, ugh, lame, and just fucking kill him.
Yeah. Like, bro. Like, imagine he's just like, I've seen better would be cool as fuck though. Like as a previous combo leader, like if he said some shit like that, I think that would be really cool. Um,
You know,
like imagine like a Heian era sorcerer that like a piercing. He's like, man, back in the day, these piercing bloods were fucking real.
real, yeah. It's like, damn, dude, this is it. Fuck, you're just embarrassing me right now. Like this is the best I could do all those hundreds of years ago. Oh no, I can't let people know about this, and then just kills him like just to hide his shame or some shit.
He's like, no. I'm not your father.
Yeah,
Sorry.
nah, bro.
Uh,
But like it's very funny because like Kenjaku seems to have more reverence for like Yuji than Choso and
mhm.
his brothers. And I'll be real, does this mean he thinks like uh what's his name? Ichi what do his like brothers what are their names? Ichichi
Esso and Kechizu.
Kechizu. Yeah. Like you think
Bro said Ijichi.
yeah, dude. You think like he looks at them and he's like, this shit goes hard. This shit goes hard. And then he looks like Choso and he's like, ugh, boring. Like you think he just because they look so fucked up, he's like, okay,
I don't
okay, we're
think so.
cooking.
I don't think so. Only because if he likes Yuji more, right? Yuji looks just as human as
He
Choso
looks
does.
more human.
More human,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like what
I
is
think it's a
it?
potential thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's the fact that like okay, right? Yuji comparatively, like both of them are extremely young, right? In terms of like their actual time being fighters and shit.
Right.
But Choso is still more experienced, right?
Right.
So the fact that Yuji can go blow for blow with him, right? Go hand to hand without a technique that he's supposedly gonna awaken, right? It's probably like you're like if you're barely contending with an immature, incomplete Yuji and all you have is blood manipulation and he's gonna get like fucking dismantle and cleave, you're trash. You're garbage. I don't want you anymore. Um, yeah. Ooh, saw this thing. I saw this interesting. Oh,
Thanks
uh,
M3D for the $2. Yuki gonna intervene. Then we'll get top 3 fight. Bro, I want to see Yuki versus Kenjaku just because I want to see what makes her special grade. I want
a
to know what.
special grade versus special grade sorcerer battle. Nah, bro. Have we seen that yet? Have we
No,
seen like two special grade sorcerers go
no,
at it?
we've never seen that. Like the closest would have
Nah,
been
yeah.
closest. No, because I'll put it to you like this, right? The biggest insult to Gojo is calling him special grade. Like,
Mm.
like to the audacity to put Gojo like on the level of anybody else, or like to put anybody else on the level of Gojo is actually so fucking crazy to me, because to somebody like Gojo, right? Some Yuta, Yuki, Geto, right? If we're taking away all their personal relationships, just removing that, they are just as fodder as somebody like Yuji would be.
Wait, who?
Uh,
Who's as fodder as Yuji?
the rest of the special grades to Gojo.
Nah.
I think so. Yeah.
No.
Really?
Because I think they put up a I know what you're getting at, like the difference doesn't matter, but I think it's such a more significant level. Like Gojo one shots Yuji, right? I don't think he does that to anybody else without purple.
Okay,
I think
let me phrase it differently, right? There is a 100% chance of Gojo winning either fight. That's how I think about it. Like there is no situation, there is no outcome where any of the other 3 special grades beat him, right? Even somebody like Kenjaku, who is like a more souped up Geto, like he's like, nah, bro, Gojo would kill me. You serious? What look like an idiot to you?
yeah.
Like it's
For sure.
like
But I
it's
think that I mean I don't know. I think that like okay, it'd be like saying to Yuji, like a grade 1 or like a finger bearer and a grade 3 are the same because he will win 10 times out of 10. Like yeah, Yuji will never lose that fight right under normal conditions,
right.
but it's still a difference in difficulty
Yeah,
in like how much you have
Lambda,
to
exactly.
exert.
Even Gojo's like special grade is becoming obsolete. Like there will be people who surpass special grade, but I think the part that's like not really being addressed is like Gojo's already he's like the only person in that realm, right? He's kind of the trailblazer here. He's not saying other people like won't rise up to the to that rank that he's in, but it's like as it stands right now in like the JJK verse, Gojo is still that guy. I know what you're saying with like the other people. Like I'm not knocking them down. I'm saying it like Gojo's matchups against somebody like YUKI, against somebody like Geto, for example. Like even if you fought Geto at perfect health, right? That's still to me not two special grades going at it because it's a special grade versus Gojo, right? Like that's how I see it. So like a real special grade
Saying
fight,
it like that is like saying it like that's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it's not two special grades going at it. It's a special grade in Gojo. That phrasing does go kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Thank you, but like you get what I'm trying to say.
No, I do get what you. I 100% get the sentiment what you mean.
Yeah, like Yuta versus Kenjaku will be I think will be the first time two special grades going at it, right? But you see the inherent difference in the matchup, right? Like on paper.
Yeah,
like, yeah,
for sure. Let's see. How can you confidently judge YUKI yet? Not a single feat aside from being able to throw back boiling water and insta-thawing ice. Well, I don't know if you're talking about like us comparing her to Gojo and saying like she'd lose, but it's just like narratively, it's implied that there's no rival for Gojo alive, right?
Even like, the closest one is Yuta, who's stated to be second, right? So we can assume that like at minimum, she is third strongest sorcerer after Yuta and Gojo, right? So like that's just kind of based off the text.
Yeah. It can get weird because you can probably say like, yeah, even if you're weaker, you can win certain fights and shit like that, blah blah blah. Yeah. It depends on like how you interpret certain things, but like there are several narration statements like when Gojo fucking does the .2 domain expansion thing, right? The narrator says after the deactivation of the domain at the hands of the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer alive. There's no room for argument on that, right?
Dude, all the disaster curses were literally like keep them occupied for 1 minute. What?
Yeah.
What? No, that's impossible.
With these special grades. You know what? That is fair, but fuck that fight. I want a new one. Give me a new one.
No, but that was off.
Yeah, like, no, it's definitely a baby special grade. Because it's like
neither of them are at their peak.
Special.
Yeah,
like you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna use that. Yeah, it was 2 nerfed special grades. Yeah. Well, honestly. That might be the strongest youth has ever been.
No. It was like in a kind of like he had like the big button to push, like the I want to win button, and Geto himself like wasn't even at his full capacity. Yeah. So it does like I think modern Yuta like where he's at right now with his level of experience and training versus like Geto without like the Night Parade.
Such a fucking hard fight.
That would be a much harder, more balanced fight. By the way, I think Geto would win that one. Just. To be frank. Yeah.
Okay. Look at you. Nah, bro. Because I feel like this. Maybe this isn't right. Maybe I'm just fucking on crack. But this feels like such a big fucking move forward. Because I thought like for the longest time you thought Geto was like the weakest of the 4 special grades, like barring maybe YUKI because we hadn't seen her.
He's probably the second strongest. Yeah.
Bro, fucking Geto. Listen. That's an interesting matchup in my fucking head, man.
Yeah. Like I'll put it to you this way, right? YUKI is probably going to be like insane, right? Like when her powers get revealed, when she gets scrapping, you guys are gonna come in to the Onwards podcast, like live stream or whatever, and we're gonna be gassing her up. We're gonna be like, oh man, this really changes the hierarchy of power here, right? Kind of pulling.
I get you. I see.
Right, it'll be crazy, right? But I can promise you 2 things, right? One, she will not be stronger than Gojo, right? Like simply put, she just won't be, right? Number 2. She's probably gonna be. It's gonna be a thing where he's like, if this was Geto, she would have won the fight. But since it's Kenjaku with like an awakened Mahito or whatever, it's like it's not even close.
Since it's me, I'm different.
Yeah.
Nah, we'll see.
But like the first one is a guarantee. The first one is a guarantee. No matter how strong she ends up like being revealed to be, it's like, dude, this always bugs me out, like the JJK fan base, right? Like y'all are really underestimating Gojo. Like where does this shit come from? Like, I don't get it.
You say this as you're like the fucking Volume 0 Gojo was ass and like barely a sorcerer.
No, but that was a narrative thing. It just because like I don't think Gege like designed him like that yet.
Yeah, a box. What? But that's a funny response.
Okay. But like, what do you think? Like is that a crazy like thing? Like people underestimating Gojo?
I think yeah. I think it's. well, I think underestimating Gojo is crazy, but I haven't seen that many people doing it. I don't think.
It's more like when people are like, "Oh man, this person could beat Gojo like this," and it's like, no, they can't, bro. Like, if Gojo got out of the box right now, right, and he was to fight Tengen, Yuki, and Kenjaku, and hell, just throw Chozo in there just for fodder, just for a warm body, right? He would still win. Like that's the whole point of Gojo.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that is true. I think that is true.
Yeah, there is an inherent like lack of fun with pairing Gojo up against another opponent that isn't like Sukuna, right? But that's mostly because like Sukuna's like story stats, like back in his day he was blah blah blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why people really want to see that fight. But at the same time, right? Sukuna isn't beating Gojo right now. Like even at 15 fingers, he's getting cooked.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, right? So it just bothers me when I see people like being like, "Oh man, do you think Kenjaku and all the disaster curses teaming up and like fighting Gojo along with like all the higher ups?" No, Gojo still wins. Like
Yeah.
My last example, right? If Gojo was in Sendai Colony, it would be 3 pages long.
Nah, you're waffling on that one. It's not.
I'm really not.
It's taking.
Bro.
You're waffling,
dude.
Because Gojo doesn't even do that. Gojo never has a fight, right, where him and the person are going at it. That's that short, no matter how big the difference is.
No. Every Gojo fight though has been altered by some outside circumstances, right?
Gojo versus Jogo.
That was him just wanting to show off. He literally left the fight
midway
to
that's how Gojo fights. That's the entire way he fights. Like, that's how he is in character.
No, okay,
right?
In character, right? But I'm saying, no, like, in the context of a versus battle, like, specifically, where you're like, oh, yeah, he goes in there, like, to try to win, right? Like if it's somebody, like, versus Gojo, dude, if Gojo's trying to kill you, and there's no crazy number of civilians around, he's going to kill you. Like that's simply put, like if you give him no reason to try to keep you alive for any reason, you're getting cooked.
Sure. I just think like the degree to which you say like there's no comparison is a bit much.
I don't think so.
I do. I definitely do.
So let me get this straight, right? You're putting Uro and Ishigori against Gojo. You're like, yeah, they got this.
Nobody said that. I said the disparity. You're saying it's ending in 3 pages. I'm saying that's not true. Like Gojo, I'll put it like this, right? If Gojo punches Ishigori, that's not like he's not gonna beat him with punches. It's not.
Yeah,
happening.
No. He's going to beat him with a fucking domain, bro. The domain expansion, he can spam infinitely.
Yeah. Sure, right? But once again, even in versus battles, right? You don't just like plug a controller up their ass and be like, you do all the right thing. Like they still fight with the intent to kill, but in character.
Obviously,
right?
I get no. I'm being hyperbolic, like on purpose, right? Like I'm trying to say, right? There's a 0% chance that Ishigori and Uro walk away with a W.
Got you. Fair enough. Like, yeah, I mean that is true.
Yeah,
yes,
like,
they don't. There's no way they win. Yeah.
Yeah, like in and out of in or out of character, right? There's no universe where they're beating Gojo.
Sure. Yes, I agree.
Sorry.
Better not put them near some fucking civilians though.
Yeah, but literally, like the worst thing you could do is like, okay, listen, the Culling Games like setting, peak fucking Gojo battleground, right? No civilians. Sorcerers going all out, a lot of open space. It's no shit. The fucking Culling Games is finishing up like instantly if Gojo gets out, bro. Like the win con.
Ryu not taking that Miguel beating? You're high. You're literally on fucking crack. That's crazy, bro. Listen. This fucking soundbite's gonna be crazy. But listen. If we're just talking, if we're just talking what Gojo did to Miguel. I need an example of why that shit works on fucking Ishigori, the highest output ever guy.
Yeah.
Like the guy who can take his own Granite Bless multiple times. Why is Gojo's bare fucking fist doing that? He's the strongest? Yeah, why? Like why is specifically his hands?
Dude, like on like a body level or whatever, like Ishigori can take so much more than Miguel, bro, right?
That's what I'm saying. And Miguel was kind of like, okay, put it like this. I'm not saying Gojo was bloodlusted, right? But Gojo was pissed. He was heated. He was actually legitimately mad and was like, get the fuck out of my way. I need to hurry up. Yeah. Right? And Miguel ate that like he didn't fucking die. And you're telling me Ishigori, the highest output ever person, is going to get waxed by that? You're delusional.
Yeah,
You're
bro.
delusional.
This is what I mean, right? People don't know how to scale Gojo. It's
Like Gojo's overwhelming strength. Like,
is it
okay,
his physical strength, bro?
yeah,
Like he's not Toji.
In part, right? He is really, like Jogo mentions, he's super strong, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, right? But like if you compare, like, okay, right? If you put like fucking the like Gojo up against like Kenjaku or Geto, right? And they're going all out, and Gojo's just using hands, right? No technique. He loses. He gets fucking waxed, right? If Gojo's just like cursed energy reinforcement and hands, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Bro, I'll get into the ring with him, right? Let me just start throwing hands, bro. Like, that's not happening.
Like literally,
right? What makes
Yuta's cursed energy.
Yes.
Like that's crazy. That is insane. That's more. He
And bro,
literally said.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Hikari has more cursed energy than that in Jackpot. Is that not wild to you guys? Like, what? What? Like, okay, let me put it like this, right? Let me put it like this. If Gojo just chills, right? He's fighting.
Thank you, King Naja, 499 for the 499 sub at work, so I can't stay long. I wonder if Kenjaku has experimented on himself with like a curse technique like his. It isn't possible, tbh. He probably has, because I think his innate technique is inherently an experiment. Because if you can body hop, and when you hit the jackpot with Geto's body, for example, and then you consume somebody like Mahito, like I think that's like more than enough to count as like experimenting. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. He's probably just like, I wonder. Yeah, I definitely do wonder, kind of like, what if he's like, Geto, you were so fucking. He's like, nah, I had to make some enhancements here and there. Like, bro, you were strong, but like that's I can't. We can't do that. We're gonna have to, like, he's just doing like cursed energy steroids or some shit. Like, he's like, nah, gotta soup this one up.
Yeah. Anyway.
Calling Ryu not a hooper is disgusting. You're fucking gross. That's a gross take.
What were you saying about Gojo?
Oh, I'm saying, like, okay, right? If you say, like, okay, we're putting just hands, right? I want, like, the clarification of just hands, right?
Right.
He's not the strongest anymore. He's still a special grade.
Yeah.
But he's not the strongest. Like, and that's it. So when people say stuff like Ryu's getting bodied just by hands, you're like, okay, you're telling, because what you'd have to tell me is that Gojo has granite blast level hands. You're crazy.
He doesn't, bro. Like, he really doesn't. And like Gojo's strength, right, is his hacks, right? Like that is why he is Gojo, right?
Yeah.
The fact that he can perceive better than you, the fact that his cursed energy doesn't run out, the fact that his domain is so refined, the fact that he has like that all of his attacks like are just brutal, like being on the receiving end of them, right, is nothing short of like just absolutely like mind-bogglingly powerful. That is why Gojo is at the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you can't touch him, and then if you can touch him, you have to use your domain, and if you use your domain, he's going to use his domain,
which is always going to be better than yours. Yeah.
Yep. And then it's like, oh, unless you're Sukuna, you literally have to be Sukuna so far, right?
Literally,
and then later on Megami. But anyways, like it's literally just Ryu the Devin Booker of how dare you, man? That's crazy to say. Blue amped hands, that makes him faster, but yeah. Let's see. Ryu's whole season for reincarnating with someone who can go in triple overtime. Jogo is stronger than One Finger Sukuna. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like
objectively so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like kind of to wrap it up here. People do not know how to scale Gojo like reasonably. Like. Yeah. Thanks King KT for the 499 dono. How do you compare Kenjaku to Sukuna as both villains and characters as these recent chapters, and who do you think is stronger right now? See, I thought about that too, right? It's interesting that Kenjaku has this motivation. I love it, don't get me wrong, but it seemed more in character with somebody like Sukuna, who's just like, this shit seemed kind of gas. But like for Kenjaku to have that motivation, I wonder, does this mean Sukuna will have like actual plans just to contrast it, or will Gege double dip in the kind of like villain motivation category, right? So I wonder like what this means for Sukuna, weirdly enough, and who's stronger now?
Yeah,
like probably Kenjaku, but like not by much. But that's
I
also
don't know.
because he has Mahito's
it's
hacks.
Weird because
it's
Mahito's hacks aren't doing anything to fucking Sukuna as fucking demonstrated.
Yeah, I just mean like from like
Yeah, just
Yeah,
an extra ability standpoint for sure, for
yeah,
sure, for sure. It's weird because like when you look at these characters, obviously we know they're powerful, but like Kenjaku and Sukuna are featless against like real
of
hoopers. You know
course,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's
Like
like
they only ever fight bums, man. Like,
like Sukuna beat up like Maharaga, but Maharaga's only scaling is like back to Sukuna,
yeah,
right? Sukuna beat up Jogo, who's like only feats are like he's a special grade and he gets beat up by Gojo, right? And then Kenjaku, he beat up a tired Choso, like whoop de fucking do. You're goated, man. You're really out here hooping when Yuji is like going back and forth with a stacked like a flowing red scale stack. Like they're obviously implied to be powerful and they like clearly are, but it's weird because we haven't seen that upper limit of, oh, if they're pushed, this is what they can bring out. It's more like, yeah, we know they're both vaguely stronger than this type of person. Um, I would say if you go like strictly based off of feats, you probably are going to get Sukuna winning more often than you are not, because if you just yeah, you're probably gonna get Sukuna winning more
yeah.
often than
Because
you would not.
Sukuna's more of a combatant than Kenjaku.
Hmm.
Because Kenjaku's a bit of a nerd, right? Bit of a dork, scientist character type.
Hmm.
But like Sukuna's like he's a blood sport, aficionado, right? He's in the ring, all day.
Hmm.
So I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So just to kind of wrap this up, right? I
mhm,
I think there's a lot of nuance to scaling Gojo. It's not as
mhm,
simple as like he is strong. It's like you have to understand why he's strong, what his actual limitations are, and realistically, they're like why other characters just can't compete with him, right? Because
mhm.
it's not Gojo, Yuta, Yuki, and Geto like in one scale. It's Gojo at the top, and the other three like, below him, and then everybody else. Like
Mhm.
he is in a league of his own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until Megan me steps on the fucking scene.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I mean,
Um,
I know it's kind of a weird take. I acknowledge that, but like, I do think I see it whenever somebody's like, "Oh, can this character beat Gojo?" Like, probably not. Like,
yeah,
no,
probably
no.
not.
Like,
Like if you're not talking about Megami or Miwa,
yeah,
like
it's like,
you're
bro, it's like if somebody was like, "Oh, what could Hikari on a roll do against Gojo?" Nothing, nothing. Like, what? What are you doing wasting Gojo's time, bro? Like, oh my
uh,
god, Funky Monk, dude. Okay, okay, bro.
side topic for
Yeah,
$50. I know Maki gets washed. Huh? But Maki versus Quanxi would be nasty.
who?
Listen, bro. I don't know if Maki's getting washed versus fucking Quanxi.
Wait, who's that?
The Chainsaw Man character.
Oh,
You
okay.
haven't seen her yet. I will address this in like the most non-spoilery way possible, right? Just because Creams is not caught up on Chainsaw Man and shit like that,
Bro,
right?
dude, for $50, I'll just take my headphones off, bro. Like, let me know in chat when I,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
okay,
I'll fucking yeah, I'll let you know. Okay, so Quagshi's like the best martial artist, like the best hand-to-hand combatant in the world of Chainsaw Man, right? But I don't know how much does that mean? You know what I mean? Like that doesn't mean anything. Um, that's just yeah, nah. I don't really think that's going down in Kwang Shi's favor. I think Maki's pulling up, slicing her and her soul, and then just leaves. Um, yeah, that is about how the fight goes for me. I think it would be. I think if you assume they're kind of like relative, I think it ends up being a super cool fight. But I do think like Kwang Shi's probably not that fast. How many head did she pop? How fast? I don't know. Count them up for me. Like Maki's like outspeeding like Mach 3 characters kind of casually while laughing. Like I don't know if that's like a small feat by any means. Um, like I don't know. Like we don't know how fast, right? Because it hasn't happened in an anime yet, you know? Um, Maki also has like precog. She has a sword that bypasses durability, right? She's super durable. Like it's kind of crazy. That's my thoughts on it. All right, hold on. Like instantly, I would say that's not a very like um a very precise unit of time. Let me let him know. Quanxi's immortal? Not true. She literally does. Like Maki does it. What are we talking about? Um, yeah. Yup, yup, yup. Yup, yup, yup.
All right, I'm back. How was
Yup,
that?
yup, yup. It was cool.
Yeah. So thank you again, Funky Monk, for the 50. I hope you enjoyed your one-on-one time with BR.
I fucking scaling with Broken Ronin. A
Yeah.
new segment on the podcast for real.
Bro, I could see you in like a fucking sweater vest, purple hair, just being
legs crossed.
Girls.
Like, okay. So you wanted to know about this versus battle.
battle.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Ronan, my mom says that.
Yeah. She says that Yuta would get washed by Hikari. Well, son, your mom is an idiot. Nah, like let me tell you how to really scale.
Yeah. It's like when I was in your mom's bedroom last night, she didn't tell me any of that.
Oh, that's crazy. That's fucking wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So closing thoughts here. I think great chapter. I'm just so happy I held on to my Kenjaku stocks. I'm absolutely loving him as a villain. The sheer gall of like stepping up by himself in this way, just embarrassing essentially his son like this. It is, I don't know, it's so profoundly hilarious, and I'm just like fully on board even more than I already was, and I'm glad BR's joined. Next stop,
Yep.
is going to be him versus either Yuki
Miwa.
or Tengen or whatever.
Oh yeah, those bums.
So those are my closing thoughts. I give this chapter a nice 11 out of 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually give it a 12 out of 10 personally.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it was pretty cool. I think this was finally like, if you guys have been following week to week, like every time Kenjaku shows up, I'm like slowly getting one over. But this chapter finally did it. I was like, you know what? I do like Kenjaku, and I see the vision, right? I fully do get it. It's here. So
Happy to have you.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Happy to be here. But yeah, good chapter, great chapter, the best chapter, obviously, of the week. And probably one of like the coolest in isolation, like in the series. Like top 10 to top 15 for me, probably. And so yeah, really good.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for coming out with us, joining us yet again, and for bearing with me while I'm this sick. I'm sorry for anybody that was off-put by my voice. I apologize. It's also bothering me for what that's worth. We'll see you guys again at some point with another episode. Hopefully where I don't sound like this. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because we're there now. Yes, sir. We are also, we also included timestamps for last episode. There will be timestamps for this episode coming shortly. Thank you for everything. Check out both of our channels, and we will see you. Like, comment, and subscribe. That too. Yes.
Peace.
Yeah, later. Bye.